So, hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Willy Show. We've been sort of smashing these out pretty quick. I'm here with career firefighter Dan Graham, good mate of mine, supporter of mine, pretty much from the beginning of. I don't even know when you came on board with my story, but it was early, very early.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it was just through following other military people because, I put military people on a high pedestal. My wife is ex-Navy or senior service, as she loves to tell people all the time, and especially on Anzac Day.
Yeah, mate, Anzac Days. That's what it's about, is telling people that you're in the defence.
Yeah, and so I have a history on both sides of my family with military. It's something I've never done. It's something that's always resonated with me, and it's almost like a hole in my life that I've not filled yet. I'll be 42 this year, so I think time's running out.
Oh, trust me, I think you're doing enough, mate. I'm not big on going to a burning building.
No, well, it's but it's and so then to see what you were doing, but also, I guess, the selflessness of what you're doing is also. I was drawn to it. So your story was compelling to start with, and it's just gone from. Then we had the coffee together and chatted, and it's like now it's almost like for me, it's like, all right, here's this guy, he's doing this. What can I do? There's something that I can do, or with my friends and my community, to assist you with what you're trying to do, because you're not drawing attention essentially to yourself. You're trying to help others through your suffering. To give you an example, and I was thinking about this today. Nowadays everyone has some kind of slight in their life. They have an issue, or they'll have something that goes wrong. Have
you ever watched the auditions of Australian Idol? Everyone's like, "Oh, my uncle's grandfather's cat had an issue."
Yeah, and it's really affected me. And now I need to sing a Whitney Houston song. And I'm sorry, I just need a minute. It's then there's a GoFundMe page set up to help them recover from their grandfather's uncle's cat, because they just need money. Well, everyone needs money because if you don't have money, it's
how the world works. Sadly, difficult.
Whereas for me, what you're doing is you're going, you know what, I'm dealing with this. This is the cards I've been dealt. But here's what I'm going to do to make other people's lives better. And that's what it's about. It's not about a GoFundMe page that's just going to bring me $5,000 so I can buy something to make me feel good for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, thanks. We're not here to talk about me though. That's been done. No, not at all. I sort of hate the almost the exposure of myself. I'm like, I don't do that. I think people overcredit me a lot for it. I'm like, I don't do that much. Yeah. I try and do what I can, but I could always do more, and I'm always looking for that more.
Humanity's lacking it.
I think so too. So mainly what we're going to be going over today for those listening, and for Dan, we've literally, last time we saw each other was 6 months ago, and we've just walked in the house with a bottle of wine, so we're ready to go.
Well, we're still stay connected through Instagram. It's like
that's
the funny thing with
chat all
social
the
media.
time. We're going to be mainly going over life as a career level firefighter, sort of what you've done, the issues you see as the community's response to firefighters, and then issues in the services as well.
Sure.
As far as nothing, it's not a political thing in the services, because that's that varies massively. But as far as we've pointed out, cancers in the services, and that isn't just the South Australian firefighters or the CFS, that is through the New York firefighters to the guys in Victoria, everywhere. Yeah. And also we'll go through some mental health stuff and everything, just to fill the people in what we're, just for you guys listening, that actually what we're going to go over.
But mainly the mental health stuff is something is emerging greatly.
Oh, mate, massively.
And being, I guess, there's a lot of focus on it at the moment, and the Metropolitan Fire Service, the South Australian Metropolitan Fire Service, are all over it.
Yeah.
They are literally probably one of the leading fire services in Australia, recognising it and moving forward, because there is big problems there. Oh, yeah, and
I really can't wait to get stuck into that with you. As well as at the end of this, there will be a Q&A session, because I know a lot of guys, a lot of ex-servicemen, and I know when I came out to your station, half the guys are ex-service.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ex-servicemen, a lot of people very interested in becoming a fiery.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there'll be a quick Q&A at the end, how many questions you guys have. If you've got questions, look, I will monitor the chat throughout this, but we'll actually specifically do questions at the end. I'll more use your questions as a guideline on here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I can't wait. So firstly, Dan, really, how old are you, and what do you do? For those of you who don't really know.
So, I'll be 42 in August. Mm-hmm. I'm a senior firefighter qualified, which is a relatively new rank that come through in our last employee bargaining agreement, I guess. So what that means is I've done a lot of staff development framework that the fire service put in place to study and drills and what have you. So I'm qualified to ride in charge of a truck, if need be, but I'm not actually an officer as such.
Yep.
There is a promotions process coming up, which I'd like to contest and have a go at. It's a pretty big thing.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But, so basically I'm just another fiery down the street, just with a couple of other ranks. Just standard fiery sort of stuff.
That's not the way most of the community see it.
No.
The sort of the silent majority, as I'll put it, see you guys. We don't just look at the calendars. We also see you guys as heroes in society.
I appreciate it. I don't see it like that, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah, but that's just how it goes with everything, though. Like soldiers don't see it like that. Ambos don't see it like that. But trust me, if my house is on fire, I'm stuck in a car. But at the end of the day, I'm not calling the current affair.
Yeah, well, I mean, our interaction with the community generally is all in all very positive. We're viewed in a very positive light in the community, and we're very lucky to have that. But that can be easily damaged as well. Yeah. So fireys are very, very conscious of our standing in the community and making sure that we don't alter that or do anything to damage that. Yeah.
Because once it's gone, the difficulty of getting that back
is a long way back.
Impossible. Not impossible. It's very hard.
It is.
It's not
I would suggest to the people out there, especially people with kids, etc. You see a fire truck parked in a car park, go up and say hello.
Yeah.
Because generally our interaction at an incident, you're having the worst day of your life.
Yeah.
So our interaction with the community is generally meeting with people who are having a pretty bad day.
Yeah.
And if we can do something to make that better, then that's a fantastic opportunity on our behalf. But also from our point of view, if you come and you go, oh, what's this truck? And we'll run you over the truck while we're sitting in the car park. We'll show you whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, the taxpayer is the end user.
Yeah.
So they're invested in that piece of equipment.
Well, I guess you're a taxpayer-funded community service.
Yeah, and to show the kids and the members of the community over the equipment we have, what it does this is our service to you. But also, it's an opportunity for us to have interaction with the community when they're not having a bad day.
Yeah.
So it's a positive thing, and it might make that, to see a young kid climb on a fire truck and their parents take a photo and then they, oh, thank you so much. It's like, we've literally taken 10 seconds out of our day to have your child sit in a truck. That's given us something really good too.
Oh, it has, and I guess for those kids too, are the future generation.
Absolutely.
It could inspire them to become firefighter, or just that sort of respect at a young age.
Respect for any of the emergency services. I teach my daughter now, anytime we see police officers, we go up, we say hello, and I ask her, like her daughter, her name's Winnie. Yep. Winnie, police are out, and she says friends. So she high fives the police. But should she be in trouble, she's not going to be scared of them. She's going to approach them and she goes, hey, I need a hand. Yeah. And the same goes for fireys or AMBOs, SES, CFS, any of the frontline emergency services, defence personnel. You see a uniform, you got to trust that person. There's a certain gravity that comes with wearing that uniform.
Yeah, it does. And wearing one of those uniforms is such a pride thing.
Absolutely.
There's a big one. You actually touched on it then with... normally when we meet you, you're having the worst day of your life. Yeah. I actually saw a quote on it. It was like a firefighter running through like a burning building with a kid, which I know isn't, your 99% of your job at all. But
0.001%.
But neither is running through a firefight in the army.
No.
But that's what you could be expected to do.
That's correct.
And that's what you train for. In the army, we have a saying like, we train for the war. We train for a war, not the war.
Yeah.
We train for a war with like a top-notch country.
Yeah.
And even if we have to fight here, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I guess that's almost you guys. You guys train for like the fire, not the ones we're having at the moment. Like you guys train to run in a burning building.
Absolutely.
But if it's getting a cat out of a tree, you're also fine to do that.
Yeah.
But the quote actually said, "I'm expected to have my best day on your worst day."
Yeah, well, I've never heard that, but that's fantastic.
Yeah. Because you are expected to perform.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, and if something happens and you guys don't perform, then it's back on you guys, and it's one of those. Yeah, you're expected, and it almost went into more depth of like it may be your worst day as well.
Absolutely.
It may be you're expected to perform your best on the worst.
Yeah,
and that's something you see with emergency services, everything that I think we don't put enough sort of emphasis on.
Yeah,
I think soldiers get it almost pretty easy because at the end of the day, we're only in danger if we go overseas. Really, like I know accidents happen on training. Or if we don't put that aside, we're in danger. A small majority of the time, even though it might be really heightened. And that's where I always put a cop's more likely to get in trouble or something than us. They're out there every day on the street with a gun.
Yeah.
Same with fireys. It's every single day. So I think what you guys do, and this is for everyone who's fiery, is incredible.
I would argue that a SAPO, a police patrol officer, is possibly one of the most dangerous jobs going. Those people respond to a phone call. Well, a phone call that goes through to comms. That person takes as much information as they can at comms level, then dispatches that to a patrol. The patrol then goes and walks up and knocks on that door. Now, what's on the other side of that door is only on the strength of, the intel that they've received prior to that. That's a big thing. A big thing. Mate. So much respect to the Blue Line. I mean,
fucking oath.
I mean, I've done it. I was a cop for 4 years before I was a fiery.
Yeah.
But the police will always have my utmost respect.
Same.
I mean, Starries are amazing. They're very, very highly trained, and nothing against the Starries. But the job, the most dangerous part of the job can sometimes already be done by the patrol that comes and knocks on the door, identifies the problem, withdraws, cordons put in, Starries come in.
Yeah.
So,
it's quite an incredible thing.
It's massive.
Emergency services are so underappreciated, to be honest. I think by the most of us, it's not every day. And I know, like, and as you said, with the kids coming in the fire truck, I actually went out to Dan's station, 6 months ago now,
it was a while ago,
to do my tie flip charity with your guys, because I wanted you guys on board. Like, I wanted the emergency services on board with it. And you guys wanted to be on board with it too.
Oh, we'll be on board for anything like that. I still think that's got legs. I still think we can do something. I know I mentioned that to you over coffee. Yeah. I still think we can do something, but we should put a group together and do something pretty good for that.
But like climbing over the truck, everything, I'm like a little kid. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is sick.
You're a stakeholder in that truck.
Yeah.
As a member of the community.
It's true, yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, if the community's not in, that truck doesn't roll.
That's right.
At the end of the day, that's just how it goes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're a police officer before joining. And was that straight out of school at 18?
So my dad was a fiery for 43 years as well.
Oh, God.
And so I was at school. I wasn't the best student. Like, my report card was pretty much, Dan could do so much better if he actually paid attention and wasn't concentrating on being the class clown and all that. But I knew what I wanted to do. I had a friend from primary school sent me a message on Facebook some time back, Christy, and she said, I can't believe you're a firefighter. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And she goes, you were talking about that in year 5 at primary school.
Really?
And it's like, yeah, well, I did that. Well, I actually wanted to be a pro cyclist. My dad was a cyclist. He was I think he was in the 74 Commonwealth Games squad, and he was like second in the 1974 Australian road title. And he's no slouch. I never reached the level that he did. But that was what I wanted to do. And so I followed that. So I left school in year 10. I finished year 10. I did 4 weeks of year 11. I got picked for the state team to go away to Alice Springs that year. And then I thought, this is what I want to do. I'm just going to put all my eggs in this one basket. Not interested in school because I'm not doing great anyway. Yeah. So I did that, and I trained full time, and I was out training every day with the Institute of Sport guys, and whilst not a member of the Institute of Sport at the time, but I trained with them under some great coaches, and it was hard graft. It was like eat, sleep, live, breathe cycling. Yeah. And so I followed that, and then things were going fairly well. I was never super good. Like, a lot of my testing and that wasn't over the moon or anything. It wasn't like a Lance Armstrong or like a Stuart O'Grady.
Don't say like Lance Armstrong unless we could drug you up. You might get that.
You know what? I we talk about Lance without going down a rabbit hole, but I'll give you the hot tip. You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Yeah, no, Lance
I agree.
Armstrong is a freak of nature.
Oh, he's a freak either way.
To start with,
you could put me on every single drug in the world, and I'm not even getting close.
His mental fortitude and his physiological makeup is next level, and then the juice that he was using and stuff is just recovery. Yeah. So
it was that 1% on top.
Yeah, and I've never been a lover of Lance. I know some people that are pretty good friends with him, and there was people that I was friends with, and I was very critical of him at the time. Going, you can't. Come on, guys. Yeah. You can't be believing this shit. Like, have a look at it. No, it's crap. And they're going, how can you do that? He's a cancer survivor. I go, okay, just wait. And then it all comes out, and it's like, I've never been, I told you so. But the level of shit that he has received over it, I don't agree with either. Because he did a lot of good things.
Fair enough, take take the medals away from him
Yeah.
that he won.
Yeah.
But it didn't. But the funny thing was, it's like, oh, well, we're going to take it for second. Oh, they're also on drugs. Like,
Yeah. You could go through the top 30. You're still not going to find a clean bike rider.
So it's one of those things. But like, as far as the good shit he's done in the world, you're like, come on, he's still a legend.
He gave
like,
a lot of people hope. You know, and you can't fault that.
Guys like anyone who's ever read his book, Live Strong, is it, or something? His books,
or Every Second Counts.
Whatever it is, he's
I've read
fucking incredible.
I read the books,
He's a legend in sport, and that's why everyone knows his name still.
I think the biggest problem with Lance was he just wasn't humble enough.
Yeah. Fuck, I wouldn't be either if I won. Would he win 7 or 8 Tour de France's?
7, I think.
7? I wouldn't be humble either.
If he had stopped at 5, because prior to that was Miguel Indurain, Eddie Merckx, and I think Bernardino, they'd all won 5.
Yeah.
So Miguel Indurain was the closest one that had won 5, but he was smart enough to stop at 5.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like, well, geez, these names prior to me that have won 5, I'm just going to equal it. And better, Lance couldn't help himself.
No.
You know, that was the first mistake. And the fact that he's American, French, they don't like each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Bloody oath. Bloody oath.
But,
yeah. So at what point did you decide to join the police force?
Well,
And was it SAPOL?
It was SAPOL.
South Australian Police?
Yeah. Pretty much local, like Foodland, like everything I've done.
Yeah.
I'm very widely travelled.
Yeah.
So I continued, so 94 was when I left school, and then I went away for the national titles again in Queensland. And my role in Queensland in the road race was more as a support role for other guys.
Yeah.
And I actually relished that role. I preferred that because there's no pressure to roll up and actually have to win. It was more like, I'll do my job, I'll get out of the way, and these guys can win. And I actually really like that because I thought I'd like to go to Europe as a pro cyclist and just literally be what they call a domestique, which is just a helper. I'll go back and get you water. I'll go back and get your food.
Yeah.
I'll get you to the finish. You take care of the rest. And there's there's pressure-free riding essentially. Like there's pressure through the race, but there's not that end pressure to win. So I just really relished that role. So I rode the time trial, which was my specialty.
Yeah.
And I was on a good time. And I know I was riding well. I was never going to make top 3 or whatever, but I punctured my front tyre with 10k to go.
Fuck.
And rode on a flat tyre for the rest of the race. I think I finished like 16th or 17th or something like that. And I was bitterly disappointed, very, very upset. And I remember the coach sticking his head in the car and just looked at me and goes, "What are you upset about?" And I said, "Well, I punctured. That's bullshit." And he goes, "Well, that's cycling. Get over it."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, a good way of putting it, you know.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard adversity to get to just go through, but it's true.
As a 17-year-old, you're going like,
hang
on, I've worked really hard. I deserve this. Like, it's like, no, I can't get a puncher now. Like, So then a few days later, got to the road race, and I did my job. It was in Queensland. It was like September or whatever. But coming from Adelaide, winter, going to Queensland, it was up on the sunny coast, Maroochydore, and that hot weather, warm weather. I blew through all my water, got to the top, and the people that were handing out the water, my water was given to someone else. Water, nothing. And I ended up collapsing on the side of the road. The coach, actually, the van drove up beside me with the door open. The coach jumped out and caught me before I went over a guardrail into a ditch.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the back of an ambulance and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, okay, no worries. So I got back from Queensland, and then I started to get sick. So I must have had a virus in my system.
Yeah.
And I got sick, went to the doctor. The doctor prescribed me these antibiotics. Take some time off the bike. Okay. And then I started to get really sick. And I still remember this because it's the last time I was light enough, I guess, for my father to carry me. Like, my dad's 70 now. There's no way he's going to carry me. I outdo him by like 30 kilos weight-wise. He carried me from the doctor's surgery into the x-ray department. The x-ray, they said, you've been prescribed the wrong antibiotics, and you have an abscess behind your eyeball that is currently pushing your eye out of its socket.
Yeah.
And within that diagnosis, going across to Modbury Hospital, I was in an ambulance and I was on the operating table in the RA within an hour.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I'd never had a stitch in my life prior to that. And so I had 6 or 8 stitches in the side of my face, and they cut the abscess out. They said, I'll take 8 to 10 weeks off the bike because you're recovering from this virus. Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, sure. I always see that as a challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, you say 8 to 10, I can do it in 2 to 4.
2 to 4, yeah. Fucking Aussie blokes. So.
Yeah.
I swear, every single doctor's watching going, no shit,
it's
you
not
did.
a medical diagnosis, it's a challenge.
I'm a fucking doctor I went to uni for 10 years to tell you this, and you pricks. I wonder if Aussie doctors ever just go, like they see you come in and go, it's going to be 2 or 4, but 8.
I'll see you in a couple of days, Dan.
Yeah.
So stupidly, I was like back on the bike, and then my friend rang me and he said, "Oh, like so every year in the start of summer at Port Pirie, there's these two races. There was what they call the Smelters Picnic,
Yep.
and then they had their cycling and athletics carnival. So you have the old track, which is gone now, on the footy oval at Pirie. It was a big flat 500-metre track, and it's amazing. It's super fast, always hot weather, and then an athletics carnival in the middle. And so he said, do you want to race? I said, yeah, I'm going to race. Yeah, all right. And it's like, we're well within the 8 to 10 weeks at this stage, and I was actually not going too bad. So that's on the track, no brakes, no gears on track bikes, fixed wheel. So if you're pedaling, you're going forward.
Yeah.
And I'd done all right through the day. I reckon it was about 38 degrees that day. And you'd ridden all the heats, and in the first final, I reckon it was about 6:45 at night, and there was a group of us, about 5 of us, going around the outside of the bunch on the bell lap. So we're probably doing about 60 k's an hour into the back straight on these bikes. And next thing, there's a crash, and I've got nowhere to go. I'm on the fence with 4 other guys. I've gone over the top of them, and the guy that crashed in front of me, Matty, his handlebars slipped between a metal West End sign and the cyclone fence, and ripped the sign off. And then the sign got airborne and hit into my helmet. Cut my glasses off, cut my face, cut my throat.
Is that the mark? So actually, that is actually what I was going to. I was going to ask you later on. Is what the scar, because it's quite prominent. It's something.
Yeah.
I guess people would be awkward to ask you, but it's like,
I'm not bothered.
It's fucking obvious. It's like you've got, it's like you're bald. Like it's fucking obvious.
That's right. My daughter tells me that every day. You don't know hair.
So that was a fucking West End sign.
Yeah, the red tinnies.
Could you be more Adelaide?
That's like
I have this scar on my face from a West End tinny sign.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone in Adelaide's like, oh my god, that. You should actually take a photo of that and send it to like Shit Adelaide on Instagram and just be like, oh, you see this? This was 20 years ago on a West End sign. Oh,
you're welcome.
Oh god, yeah.
I reckon they should unveil my head on one of the West End.
At least give you a free couple of cartons.
It's an awful head, but so I stacked it, peeled all the skin over my cheekbone, and because I've gone over the top of all these guys, my dad was over the other side of the track. Dad's like gone running across the athletics carnival.
Yeah.
Right through the running races, over the 100-metre track.
Javelin's coming in. He's just
he's just going through, And because the main bunch of guys crashed in one spot, I've gone over the top and skidded on my face and chest and that. Quite far away from him. He got to me before anyone else.
Yeah.
And he said he rolled me over, and I'd severed the artery in my face. Oh. And so he said blood was like pumping out of my face. And it ripped my eyelid, cut into the side of my eyeball. I only had minor sight damage. I
was going to say, you're fucking lucky not to be
blind. I'm very,
blind.
very lucky. I'm thankful.
Jesus.
Cut my throat.
Yeah.
Like my neck down. Literally lost the whole side of my face from sliding on the bitumen. And at the time, I had no idea that was my injuries. I felt literally I was winded.
Yeah.
And so these people are going, don't move, hold still. I'm going, get the fuck off of me now. It's 38 degrees. This track is like, you're wearing Lycra. This track is burning me.
Yeah.
I'm laying on this asphalt. It's burning me. Fuck off and just let me get up. And they're going, you can't move. I go, I can move if you get off me.
Yeah.
They go, you can't move. And I'm like rolling stuff around in my mouth. Oh, shit, I've broken all my teeth. But it was just gravel that was off the track, because I'd sliced open all my top lip, all my lower lip.
Yeah.
That was all open. Broke my nose, broke my cheekbone, broke my collarbone, like all that. But I had no idea.
That's about as bad as it gets for a velodrome track,
Is my bike all right?
Yeah.
And so I got flown down to Royal Adelaide, and it was like after being in the Royal Adelaide for the abscess, and it was back on the same ward. Hey Dan, yeah, I'm back again. Yeah,
this bloke and his fucking eyes.
yeah. So that was a bit of a turning point, and then they said, 3 months off. I said, yeah, all right.
Yeah, fair call.
6 weeks later, I was back on the bike again.
Yeah,
I was like, no worries. Changed coaches, and then I ended up with this coach. There was like this old English guy that had helped a couple of other riders get to Europe. So all right, this guy could be the key. And I heard some rumours about him, but wasn't too bothered. And he lived at Mannum, and so I used to ride to Mannum and back, and then eventually he said, stay the night here, and we'll have a chat about a possible European connection and all that. I'm like, okay. And all I'll say is his intentions were not as honest as one was,
really?
As a 17-year-old boy.
Oh, Jesus.
So
too young, too hopeful.
I've gone through all that, and then this guy, and it's like, right, okay. So then the wheels for me started to fall off. I'm going like, what is this world about? Am I going to get taken? Manham at a 17-year-old on a bike is a fair way from home.
Yeah.
Mobile phones didn't exist then because, it's like, Mum, Dad, come pick me up. This guy's like putting the hard word on me and all this sort of stuff. And
Jesus.
later on when I was a cop and I found out more about him, and it was like there were certain things that was his like MO of what he did, and I'm like, I was very lucky that I escaped.
In what sense? Like a pedophile? Or,
Yeah.
Jesus, fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, spot on. So, so then I started to think about, okay, what am I going to do? What's
So is he just putting the hard word on you, or did any not to go too deep?
No,
into
nothing. Like, so I remember going there and I had a shower and I shut the door and locked the door, right? And I come out the shower and dry myself and the door's ajar, right?
Jesus.
And then later on I find out that he was on charges for another male that was coming out the shower and he'd pushed to the ground on a slippery floor by pushing the door open, and you're going, I know I locked the door.
Yeah.
So you're going like, oh, that was a close call looking back.
Fucking hell.
You're going like, so, and like, it just is what it is. It's there's a lot of predators out there in this world.
Fucking hell. Oh,
So,
fuck yeah.
Yeah. So that like made me think, and I raced for probably another 6 or 8 months and I was doing pretty well, and my last race was at Harndorf. Just after I turned 18, I had this massive race. It was like worth 10 grand to win. The guy that won it, I'd actually literally beaten the week before in a local race. Yeah. And for something went wrong. My headset came loose on my bike. Something was vibrating. I literally cracked the shits across the road after the finish line, crossed the road, walked off my bike, literally picked my bike up, just threw it away and walked away and said, I'm done. That's it. Yeah. My dad went ape shit at me in front of like all this crowd. Ape shit. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. That's and that was like the limit. I was like, no, I'm drawing the line.
Yeah. You
Game
had
over.
a fucking tough run before it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So then I was like, okay, now where am I at? No education, no cycling career.
Yeah.
18, going out with friends, and then like it's. I was then going through probably my teenage years of 13 to 18 as an 18-year-old, because everything up until that point was eat, sleep, live, breathe cycling. No girlfriends, no cars, no nothing. This is what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Like I would go on training on Christmas Day in the morning because I knew no one else would be out on their bike. And it was like, there's 100K I can get in that no one else has done.
Yeah.
So that was all gone.
Becomes an addiction, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, but also that naivety that says, if I do more than somebody else, I'm going to be entitled to more than them, or I'm going to have a greater success. And it's literally just not the way it works.
It's a big learning point for a lot of people. Yeah. It's the generation we live in where it's a trophy for everyone.
Yeah. And it's not real.
Oh, shit.
You can sacrifice till the cows come home and you're still not going to make it.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So then I was like, okay, well, where am I at? And I was working, I think, at Bilo when Bilo still existed.
Oh yeah, I remember Bilo. Yeah,
Night Fuel and all that. So I was mixing like Night Fuel and then a cycling career, and so late nights, early starts, and all that sort of stuff. And I was lucky enough to meet a mate of mine, Mark Barron, that's got the Coffee Baron coffee shop at Nailsworth and that.
Oh yeah,
Mark and Kate. Yeah. And we were working at a printing place. He said, I might have a job for you. I said, okay. So me and him were working in the printing, like factory work, working night shift, day shift, afternoon shift, all that sort of stuff. And then it went from there to, then the fire service thing started to really itch for me. Because I'm going, okay, no cycling career, no education. Now my fallback is, if I'm not going to be a cyclist, I want to be a firey. Yeah. So I go, all right, so I'm going to start following this. So then I got my security license, and I did a bit. It was all about just trying to better myself a little bit. Yeah. That what would I need to do to try and become a firey that might help me? So, obviously security, you got responsibility, you wear a uniform, you got radio procedures and all those sort of things. Yeah. So, okay, well that's a tick in the box, and so I did that, and then that wasn't really working out real well. I was doing like 12-hour shifts with Chubb, doing alarms and all that, and so then I literally answered a letter in the paper to go and be an assistant manager for Hungry Jack's of all things.
Yes.
And it's like
the burgers are better.
Well, I don't know now, but at the time I believed it. It's and I was like, okay, I'll apply for this job. So I went for it and I got the job. I was like, oh, all right. So I did that for a bit. And my partner at the time, her father was working high up with KFC. And once I'd done my training with Hungry Jack's and done like a year or whatever, he goes, hey, you want to come across? I'll give you some more money. I'm like, how much more money? He's like, you go from $28,000 to $32,000.
A big spender.
Guess what? You just bought me. So I went across to KFC, and again, like it was a job, but I hated it. And like, I had this Polish boss that was like, you know, do this, do that. I said, mate, you're selling chicken. You're not saving lives. You know, like,
Yeah.
I get what they're trying to do.
So
and
it didn't really quench that thirst.
there was nothing.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I tried for the fire service, I think by that stage 3 times.
Shit.
So I tried for the fire service, I think.
And what did you fail on?
The entrance exam.
Okay. So is that a written test? Or?
It's a written test. So it's maths, English, spatial relations, etc. At that time. And I know I finished fairly high with my results, and it still wasn't enough. So essentially, the top 1% are the ones getting through.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it a certain like if whoever scores above this is taken, or is it like against your? Is it peer review? You know what I mean by like peer review?
Yeah.
So the top, say we've got 100 guys, the top 10 are going through, or is it whoever scores above this is going through?
Well, it was from my understanding at the time, and I don't know how it works exactly now, but it was. Like at the time, there's 18 jobs going. So there's 18 people in a recruit course.
It's top 80%.
And you might get 2,500 people applying for that 18 jobs.
Holy
fuck. That's a lot of people, you know, even to run through physical testing before you even get to the interview, etc. So at the time, they may have said that the top 100 of that 2,500 people will go through.
Yeah.
So that could be like the top 80 could have all had 100% on the exam.
Yeah.
You know, and then 99%. And 98% might be enough for you not to make the top 100.
Yeah.
Because it's not super difficult. You don't have to be a brain surgeon. You know, you're not Charlie Teo's not rocking up to do the test.
Yeah. He's saving your life a different way.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's like
different types of men
for courses. But so the score is that high that you can still do really well and not make the cut.
Yeah.
And so 3 times. So the third time it was 2001, so just post September 11 and all that. I still want to do it. You know, like, if anything, that made the itch worse because I'm like,
it's something you haven't made.
That's something I haven't made. I'm like, look at what these people are doing. You know, like, that's where I want to be.
Especially, I think 9/11 would have been a big trigger point because the sort of footage and everything coming out of the fireys, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It's not that hasn't happened before, but it was just so well covered, I guess, that it was like, fuck, this is epic.
I literally just finished an afternoon shift at KFC Martin and come in the door, and I got a phone call, said turn the TV on, and I'm like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
What movie is this?
I still remember watching it in the kitchen of my old house.
Yeah.
I would have been 5.
Yep.
And we had a little orange black and white TV and watching it. I remember watching it on that. Now, I didn't watch the towers fall, but there was a few others the next morning when I got up to go to school. Maybe prep.
Yeah.
It was an incredible thing. And I think the big reason that fireys was so... the heroic acts and the lives lost in that, of course, but there was actually... a film crew doing like a documentary on the New York Fire Department.
The 2 French guys,
and they're filming like the fires. Like, this is like this is a man holding the ground, and like a fire extinguisher here. Camera pans up, and a fucking plane just hits the building.
Yeah,
and it's like, holy shit! What are the odds on that day of you rolling out with the fires?
Yeah, well, see, that was literally a run-of-the-mill gas leak call. So they're running the monitor over, you know, the Micro 5 like we use, or something similar. Running that over, they go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's a plane flying over, what's that? That crew was first arrival. They were the first under the awning of World Trade Center 2.
Well, I watched the thing last night. 5 seconds, they responded. It took 5 seconds for the New York Fire Brigade to call in that they were responding to it.
Yeah, because that Chief Pfeiffer or whatever that was at that job, that running the camera crew, he was the first radio report through. Yeah. You know, I have a large building, I have the top 10 floors on fire, an airplane, heavy smoke showing, like that was his initial radio report going through en route to the job. It was just epic. And I was standing there watching it stinking of fried chicken in a KFC uniform going like, you know, this is the wake-up call going, what are you doing? Come on now. So it's like, so then I thought...
People need that.
And then, so at the same, so I had 2 applications running, and I was like, because after...
Was that cops and fireys?
Yeah. So after failing twice for fireys, and then I had my 3rd one running, and so then it comes to the point you go, all right, come on, what are you doing? Are you going to just keep going for this? And you can't just keep doing what you're doing. So like, what else can I do? I was like, SAPOL, always respected him, love the job, hard job. All right, I'm going to have a crack at that. So I had both applications running, got the knockback from the fireys, got the tick in 2002, early 2002 from SAPOL, and started there in March. Yeah. So I did my 4 years in SAPOL, and I loved it. I worked out at Salisbury and Elizabeth, and You know, I saw things that I hope people never see, and I experienced some great things as well, and made some lifelong friends out of it.
But in that was said, like you hope people never see it. That's made you the person you are now. That I know, you know, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy to see those things, but at the end of the day, I guess that almost builds that sort of adversity muscle to deal with in the future.
Yeah, it does.
Stuff.
And even with my daughter, like it's sometimes it's a good way to be able to put things in perspective. You know, if something that she sees important, you know, it's an easy way to approach certain problems and situations with stuff. But and that even touches on the PTSD side of things. For me, like I remember I come out of recruits. I was out of recruits for 4 days. I graduated, and it was like it was a Monday morning day shift. Day shift generally out there is pretty quiet because a lot of the morons that are going to go and commit crimes like to get up a little later in the morning. You know, like they've had a heavy night, not much happening till 11. We get this call from a concerned person from an employer, says, "Oh, such and such hasn't rocked up to work." And then it goes further. It's like they've gone around to this person's house and found them deceased in a car.
Jesus.
Yeah, so this person's gassed themselves in the car, and it was like pretty hot weather. They'd been there for a few days. And it's like, so you can imagine it's pretty ugly.
Swing the door open on that one.
And then it's like, get the new guy here. He needs to get his book signed off. Let's get him in there. Okay, well, I'm not going to back down from it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It was that horrendous, this scene. And I had to spend 2 hours in this shed drawing the scene and taking photos and all that. You can imagine the smell of this. My partner thought it was hilarious. He stood at the top of the driveway. He wouldn't come near it because of the smell of it.
So what do you mean drawing the scene on like a notepad?
Notebook.
Yeah.
I'm drawing what I'm seeing as well as taking photos, taking notes of what I'm seeing, like, without going into too much graphic detail and all that sort of stuff. So then it's like, well, I was like, the smell inside this shed is horrendous. Okay, reach across him and delete take the handbrake off and push the car out. I said, well, I might need a hand. No, I'm not coming over there.
What are you pulling it out for?
Just so I can breathe while the car's out in fresh air because it's inside a shed. Yeah. So I've done all that and then pushed the car out and all that. So, you know, I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Then it was like, oh, you've got to get the guy out of the car. So, all right, no worries. So then by this stage, the smell is like 3 minutes on my clothes and I start vomiting. They thought it was hilarious. I'm
Your
like,
DNA's everywhere.
Yeah. And it's like, and then it was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm doing this. They go, just leave it. The other forensic conveyance guy will come and do it. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. But that smell has never left me. Like even now, I smell some things, and it's like instant.
Triggers. Yeah, I guess if you smell like a dead fucking anything, a bird or a dog, you'd be like, what?
That smell stays with you, and it's
it does.
Yeah, so that was my 4 days into the job, but like, you know, I really like SAPOL. I was lucky enough to have some really good partners, and I had some shit partners too that didn't understand the responsibility of the job. Yeah, you know, your bad eggs everywhere. Yeah. I had this pommy guy that I worked with. His attitude was just bin him. So, no, I'm not just going to bin him. I'm not just going to arrest somebody. Like we had a 18 or 19-year-old guy one night, and I think he was a bit pissed or something. His grandmother had died, and he was acting out in a place, and my partner's, he goes, oh, fuck him, you know, just arrest him. I said, no, I just want to get to the bottom of what's going on here first. So I said, I was talking to this guy, and he was pretty upset and pretty wound up and all that. But eventually I could get out of him that his grandmother had just died. He was a clean, he'd never committed a crime in his life. He was literally just having a bad night. And things were going to shit.
Like people have that. Yeah.
They do. And it's like,
you're allowed to have a bad night.
Correct. Yeah. And he was unfortunate enough to be in a public place and under the influence of alcohol.
That said, though, it's almost... not trying to condone this here, but I'd prefer someone to always have that in a public place. As long as they're not going to hurt anyone. Yeah. Because at least you can get help. Yeah. At least you guys came and helped him. If he was sitting at home having that, he'd probably kill himself. Yeah. Well, in this case, it was like he'd threatened to assault a bouncer or something, and the bouncer's like, "Oh, no, get him out of here." And then he was like, I think the offence was like fail to leave a licensed premises or something like that. Deal. Yeah, that's exactly right. So like he's gone, I just bin him. We'll get him back to the station. We'll sort him out. He's a whinging sook. He's this. He's that. I said, no. So I start talking to him. Grandmother had died. Pissed. Yeah, he's acted out. Yeah, he's under the influence.
he's literally got no police record.
Yeah.
So like I arrest him now as an 18-year-old, and I charge him with fail to leave a licensed premises,
Yeah.
or assault of a bouncer. The bouncer goes, "Oh, he assaulted me." Well, how did he assault you? He threatened to punch me, which technically is assault. If you're in fear that you're about to be hit or whatever, come on, man. There's a foot difference between you. Do you really think you're going to be?
Do you really want to fuck this guy's life
over?
Yeah,
That's
for
right.
the next 10 years, wherever it is.
Yeah,
because of one fucking bad day.
That's
Jesus.
right. So if I did go and arrest him and charge him, I go like, that's going to come up on his record for any job that he applies for.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's a big responsibility we're having on your shoulders to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm just gonna arrest you. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. You need, everything has a responsibility attached to it, and that gets lost in the translation with some of these bad eggs that are out there.
But the thing is, to sort of put on that is these are the fucking the minority of the minority that
this guy's not in the job anymore. And
yeah,
for
exactly,
good reason.
and that's the reason he's not is because peer sort of review of you guys just like this guy's a dickhead.
No, I hold police in the highest regard possible. Ambos as well. Like I'm even stunned sitting at traffic lights, and I see the sticker on the back of an ambulance that says, "I can't help you if you're assaulting me," or I don't know the exact wording. But how has society gone that low that it's like?
I honestly, some crimes that are committed, I can be like, I can relate to how you get worked up enough to do that, or you do this, or whatever happens.
Yep.
Assaulting a fucking paramedic, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like I can even under to a degree understand a bit of like almost with a fire, a bit of rough and tumble of like, oh, my fucking kids are my dog's in the house, and you guys are like, fuck off, like, and hold them back, or whatever you might do.
Yeah, that's a natural reaction, a stress response.
Even even a cop, they are policing things. They're an enforcer of the law. But a paramedic, they have not a bone in their body to not help you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter at all. They are there to help you. And every time I see a paramedic assaulted or anything, even verbally assaulted, I'm like, what sort of fucking person are you to do that?
Yeah.
Like, you are a piece of shit. Like, to do that to a paramedic, fuck off.
I mean, some people are probably not in control of their own behaviour through drugs or etc. Like, I'm not making excuses for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just wow. What level has society dropped to?
Mate, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of like mandatory sentencing for assault and paramedics. Yeah. Like, you touch a paramedic, and it's in a way to harm them. It doesn't matter if you fucking slap them or come at them with a knife. You go to jail for fucking 10 years. I don't give a shit. I don't want you to, like, even if it is drugs you're not in control of, well, then you have a drug problem, but you're on a prison. Fuck yeah.
Surely that we could we can't solve all the world's problems while we're sitting here drinking wine, but at the same time, it's like, if somebody assaults a paramedic or a police officer or anyone, and it's obvious they have a drug problem, then the drug problem needs to be solved first.
Do you think it's all right for you to be in society if you're doing that?
Yeah, it's like the deinstitutionalization that happened in the 60s and 70s, where people just got pushed back out into the community. I don't know that it's worked that well.
No.
So I'm not saying lock everyone up.
I couldn't agree more.
And look, my mum's side, they're Germans. My grandfather was in the German army, so like that could be a rabbit hole we could go down.
That's a weird rabbit hole though, because
it is.
I probably get a lot of hate for this, but if you listen to a psychologist talk about the German army, and the Nazis and everything there, the odds of you not joining the fucking Nazi uniform is that low. Like, it's
Jordan Peterson puts it really well.
That's what I was trying to refer to. He's like, do you actually think you are going to not? Like, it is 0.1% didn't. Yeah. 0.1% don't. And I think it's a weird thing to most people would say, I'd never let that happen. But it's like, well, the statistics is different.
It's a beautiful thing to say that.
They are not. It's easy to say that, but it's a lot different if you're there. Yeah. And I guess people, I sort of see that sort of uprising could never happen anymore because people are too well informed.
Well, social
Got to
media
remember, social media, podcasting, all that is so available.
Yeah.
I actually had a discussion at work about this today. About we are academically smarter than our parents as far as knowledge. We know more. Street smart, we're dumb. So like you and me, or even more my generation, we know how to look something up instantly. Anything.
Yeah.
But as far as like actually things we know, very little.
Yeah.
But the great thing about learning is you can listen to guys like Jordan Peterson. I'm a massive fan of Joe Rogan. Everyone, instantly, and you can get so much knowledge on board. It is a good thing, but we won't go down that rabbit hole of that. But it's an interesting.
I will say one thing though.
Yeah,
my grandmother, she said to me, growing up in Germany, like, so she was 14 or 15, I think, when Hitler came to power. They go on summer holidays, right? So she left. She said she left school for the summer holidays. When she left school, German flag, Martin Luther on the wall. Yeah, everything was Lutheran. You know, everything's fine. Summer holidays, come back. Martin Luther's gone. Adolf Hitler. Yeah. Swastika flag out the front. Yeah. Hitler Youth, or which was the essentially like the Boy Scouts of Germany. And it was just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And she said that her family, they grew up in Dusseldorf in like central Western Germany. Yeah. And she said, like, family worked and all that, and all of a sudden they're going, oh no, your family now has a working man's holiday. What's a working man's holiday? We've never had this before. Oh, you can go for a cruise down the river for a week together as a family, some time off and all that.
Jesus.
What are you talking about? Well, this is what Hitler's brought in, and the Volkswagen Beetle. Who is this guy? He's amazing. So it's
but it always
like
comes.
Willy Wonka shit.
It always comes back to this is what happens when you try and you get rid of freedom of speech. Yeah. Now, my sort of view on it is I don't give a shit if you're ultra left wing, ultra right wing, whatever. You can have the brilliant thing is you can have your say. You have freedom of speech. That's what stops an uprising from either side.
That's correct.
That's what stops it.
Absolute necessities.
If you stop people, people refer to hate speech, which is like you'd be a pussy. No, Greg, you're not free to be an asshole.
Yeah, no,
of course, but like some of it, you're like, no. If you control what you can say and think, that's how Hitler will. Well, that's how this rises. Because at the moment, with freedom of speech and laws in place of it, I know Australia doesn't have it, but we've got. Basically, freedom of speech. You can't be charged for hate speech at least. It goes into like imagine an uprising like that, but I'm charged if I speak out against it. Yeah. That's the brilliant thing in a democracy, and I think some people are trying to crush that. You're like, hang on, no. If they're against this on the right or against this on the left, have your opinion. Yeah. Do it either way. We are better off having these people that seem fucking crazy on either sides, who aren't hurting people, but like people who seem crazy on either side. Than having this bullshit laneway we need to go down, where we're controlled.
That's it's fascinating. Like, my father-in-law bought me this book that he found at Greenwith Salvation Army store, right?
Yeah, the best ones.
50 cents.
Yeah,
and it was written by some.
Fill you up.
Thank you, brother.
We've got some wine flowing, so we're as we change cameras around, like I'm changing cameras, we're like filling up wines
for good reason. Yeah, he bought me this book, and it was basically on the rise of the SS in Second World War. Yeah. And I'll tell you now, this book disturbed me greatly. Like, the first half of it was hilarious. Yeah. Like, so I'm reading this book. People don't actually understand that the Nazis infiltrated every aspect of high-level education, high-level business, high-level this and that. Henry Ford, right, the father of the modern way of building motor cars and all that sort of stuff, was a member of the Nazi Party and held Nazi rallies.
The fucking Pope was a supporter of Hitler at one point.
So this book I'm reading, and like the Aryan shit that they come up with, right? Oh, the Aryan race. They were sending like professors of archaeology to the Himalayas to try and prove the Aryan race going across. Like thousands and thousands of of dollars being spent on education to prove their way of thinking, and then hunting for the staff of David and all these religious artifacts and all that, and then it just descended from there. This book was like, I was giggling almost to a certain point, going, how are these educated people swallowing this shit? But at the time, I'm forearmed with a lot more knowledge now of what it descended to, but at the time they probably thought it was amazing. And then to descend to the Holocaust and the horrendousness of what they did to their society and their people is just beyond scale. It's like,
it is. I actually watched. There's a really interesting video for anyone listening to it. You should actually look up yourself. Called "German Soldiers Justify World War II."
Right.
And the funny thing was, and it's like, and these guys, I sort of, my belief in them is, They have no reason to lie. These guys are 80 years old.
Yeah.
Why would they lie at this point? Like, Anyway, so I sort of believe what they're saying is true. And they were like German infantry, like, stock standard guys, and they're like, we honestly didn't fucking know what the SS, because he was like, the people that committed these crimes, which are atrocities, were committed by the SS. Not we didn't fucking know what was going on. We're on the front line in the trench.
Though. My grandfather said so a couple of his cousins and stuff were SS. They had a cool uniform.
Yeah, Hugo Boss.
Yeah, Hugo Boss.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Bose did a lot of the speakers and all that sort of stuff.
Like Bose, I've got fucking Bose speakers here somewhere.
Well, sorry,
Jesus,
maybe get rid of them.
Going to jail.
Hugo Porsche, Ferdinand Porsche.
Yep.
All that sort of stuff. So they're all tied up. But they're probably the good Nazis now. The
funny thing is, you read about the Combi. Like the Volkswagen Combi van is seen as like an icon of like hippie culture, and you're like, that's straight out of like Nazi Germany. Eh? Like you do know that.
It's like, fascinating. It's like what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. It's like I think Joe Rogan there was a podcast the other week, and it was about the CIA and the Pentagon and all that, and it was like, Operation Paperclip. We got a lot of Nazis, scientists and stuff out of Germany, but it's okay because they were the good Nazis.
Right.
So,
the science and shit,
there's no such thing.
The German engineering and science. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think of anything. That was so far ahead of us. Yeah. Like I say that, like America and Australia, whatever.
Yeah.
Beyond us. Yeah. Like you're not even fucking close. Like if you read about like Hitler's bloody Mercedes car, or whatever it was, you're like, that's like a fucking modern. It's got electric windows. You're like, hang on, in America you're driving in some shit box.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh fuck, we won't go down the rabbit hole too much. So,
but so my grandfather, like he was Wehrmacht, like German army infantry. He was only just barely 18 at the end of the war. So like everything's gone to shit for Germany by this stage, and he's like drafted in. They said, "Oh, do you want to join the SS?" He said, by this stage late in the war, there was rumours. They said, "Nah, they're butchers." He said to me, he declined because he's like, "There's rumours about what they're doing. I'm not doing that." So Wehrmacht, he was then he was a Panzer Grenadier, and he was listed to go to the Eastern Front because by this stage the Russians were already coming. Yeah. So he worked in a group of 8. They had limited weapons, limited this, that, and the other. He was on workups, I think, in Denmark or somewhere like that, and they knew it was a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
So their only thing was if I go, I'm going to take 8 Russians with me.
Delaying force. Yeah.
But it was luckily enough that Allies at the time had come into Denmark. They retreated. He fell down somewhere, broke his leg, got captured, and it was the greatest thing ever. And he said to me, "It's the greatest thing ever that the Americans got hold of me," because he said if the Americans didn't get hold of me, you wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So they taught him to drive. They gave him all these skills and all that sort of stuff. And then he got on he went to the port, and they said east or west, and he goes, west, and he landed in Adelaide on a boat and lived in the South Park.
Do you know where east would have been?
I'm not sure. No.
Holy fuck! You landed in Adelaide.
Yeah, there's actually a cafe on Angus Street called Ost or Vost, and it's like Italian, and it's the same story. So when you go in there, the owners, like their grandparents or their parents, they said, east or west. That was, and they landed in Adelaide.
That's a fucking incredible story. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. So it's that was his story. But so anyway, now where were we? Like
massive. It's typical us, like massive, like we go from like join the police force to these Nazis in Germany.
Nazis always leads the Nazis.
Yeah, but like and I will end it on this. But I'll give it to Germany. They went from a country that was blown to pieces at the end of the war to now they're like the 4th strongest economy in the world.
Yeah, they're like holy. They're still pretty much the leader of Europe.
Oh shit! Europe. Yeah, they are. If you read about some things that they have with like Greece and whatever, you're like fuck, because of course Greece with Turkey. And Germany has to defend Europe. Yeah. And they're like, why are we defending everything?
Well, that's it.
Germany, man, is, and I've been there.
Yeah, I've not been there. So.
They're super, this sounds a bit, right, they're super German. Yeah. Like, it's what you expect. You get the BMW, and you're like, this is a bit bland, but everything works fucking perfectly. Everything's straight. It's so fucking German. You go to Germany, and people are so German. Yeah. Like, if you're not standing on the right on an elevator so they can go up the left, they're like, what the fuck are you, like, it's like you're like the head, like, what are you doing? Like,
I heard a saying that's similar to that. It's an Ordnung muss sein or something. It's like everything in its place.
Yeah.
It's like,
actually, the coolest bar club I've ever been to is in Berlin, in Germany.
Yeah.
And Berlin is very super progressive, I guess.
Just on that, on the scale of 1 to the woolshed.
No, it's not. Well, the woolshed's a 1, so I guess this is going to be 9 points up.
Cool. I
Because
just want to put it in scale because I'm an Adelaidean.
Jesus. Well, so in Berlin is very close memory of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
And anyway, and the grading of people. You're here, and sort of pigeonholing people. Anyway, I went to this club where you can't take your phone in. You can have no branded clothing, and you can have everything has to be black that you're wearing, and no celebrities. So it's a famous story of, I think it's like Justin Bieber.
We're both fucked now.
Yeah, we're both fucked. But I think it was like Justin Bieber rocked up, and they're like, "You're not coming in."
Wow.
Like, why? It's like, because people know who you are. This is not for you. This is for the people.
Yeah.
And it was cool because you can't have any brands, so you need to be in like black. So everyone's fucking the same.
That's kind of cool.
It doesn't matter who you are. You could be fucking Bill Gates rich or some guy off the street, and you're like this. It was fucking cool, man.
I like that.
No phones, so it got a bit hectic.
Yeah.
It was like full. I'm like, this is epic.
You mean by hectic, you got like my teenage years is what?
No
phones.
No phones. People don't do shit in clubs anymore because it's like something my mates can take a photo of me.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh my god, we had a massive such. Where were we? You joining the police, pulling the guy out of the car.
Oh yeah, so I did my 4 years in Sao
Go
Paulo.
wherever you want. Yeah.
And then like the itch started to get worse for the fireys, and I'm like, so there was another recruitment process during my 4 years in Sao Paulo, and my dad was like, Dan, you're going to have another go. I was like, you know what? I'd really like bearing in mind, like I said before, 43 years in the fire service. I need to forge my own career a little bit. I've followed him into cycling. I followed him into my love of the fire service and all that, but that was my unique thing.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm going to explore this a little bit because now I'm diverging a little bit and I'm being me, and I'm learning a few things. So
And that's important for a young guy. How old are you, at this point?
I was 24.
Yeah.
So I was like,
So an old man to me. But
I joined SAPO. I was joined SAPO at 24.
Yeah.
Right. And so then by the time I'm 28 and I'm like, I'm going to have another crack at the fire service, and I had a real good dig at it.
But what was it that drew you to be like, this isn't? I guess if it just wasn't your thing.
Well, it never wasn't my thing, SAPO.
Yeah.
It was just that it wasn't my number one thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It was always something that was amazing.
He's always
that
second
I knew
place.
I could have a long-term career and be interested in. But the itch was always there to have another go at the fire service.
Yeah.
So 2005, I had another crack, and I was lucky enough to get in. September 2005, Drill Squad 30, and and so then that's 14 years ago.
Shout out to the
September.
30 boys. I don't know.
Yeah, the 30 boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's been an amazing career. I mean,
So what was your training like at that point? So that was 2005.
Yeah.
What was your training like at that point? Is it still similar to that?
It's still very similar. So it's like Drill Squad. You get in and it's very paramilitary.
Yeah.
It's drill uniform standards.
Because I know the cops is moving away from that, and I think that's a real pity.
Are they?
Yeah, I went to a Victoria Police march out the other day, or what do they call it?
Yeah.
And I was almost a bit like, it didn't seem traditional. I'm like, they should be doing fucking drill, like marching, and they should. I don't know. I think that paramilitary thing is almost a good thing. Well, I think it instills drill. I know drill's sounding like arrogant shit, but it instills a lot in you.
It does.
Yeah, and I think for fireys and cops, especially, it's fucking important.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So,
that's
the fire service don't concentrate too much on drill so much anymore, and the marching and all that. That sort of gets pushed to the side because the curriculum of what you actually need to learn to be able to come on strength is just so consuming that there's just not time to be standing in a drill yard doing right dress.
And how long was that for?
That's 14 weeks.
14 weeks. Oh, shit, that's long.
Yeah.
But after that 14 weeks, you are a firefighter?
You are a probationary firefighter.
Okay, yep.
So you still have essentially a book that you need to get stuff signed off on and all that, and you still drill on station to make sure that your skills are up to scratch. But because in the drill yard as a recruit, the consequences aren't really too bad in a controlled environment. Yeah. But once you're on the back of a truck and on your first night or first day, those bells drop and you go, it's real world. There's no hiding anymore. And
I guess on the drill yard, okay, so the worst thing goes wrong, you get yourself killed. Yeah. You're on the back of a truck, you get one of the senior dudes killed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or it's a member of the public, more importantly. Not more importantly, but...
It's a weird one. It's
Most firefighters will say
firefighters will always put
member of the
the
public,
member of the
yeah.
public before them.
Yeah.
That's just instilled.
So when you go through recruits, it's a lot like the first few weeks. There's a lot of hose drill. It's almost like a bit suck eggs. I don't know what the military equivalent is, but it's like you number off 1, 2, 3, 4. You're on a truck.
Yeah.
So number 1's running the pump. Number 2's on the branch.
Back it up, set it up.
3
Back
and
it
4
up, set it up.
Correct. And it's like, all right, the fire's extended at a length of hose, and you're working with these 64 mil hose lines. They weigh about 90 kilos when they're charged with water.
Yeah.
And so at a length, okay. Oh, the middle length is knackered now. Replace it. Yeah. So break it all down, pull the middle length out, do the appropriate knots in it to show that's a damaged hose, put another length of hose in it, get going. Okay, great. Roll the hose up, pack it up, put it back on the truck, stop, start again. And you do that all day, every day. It's repetition. But the beauty of that is, should you go to a job down the street that doesn't leave you because you've done it that many times, you go, oh, I need a 64. You're going to run it out. It's autopilot. You don't have to think about it. And that's the beauty of the training.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
And as far as physically demanding, like, would you say it's more of a cardio thing or like a strength?
It's not so much strength. It's like the gear that we wear is really, really good gear in terms of protection from fire and etc.
Like the BA equipment.
Yeah, well, just the
breathing apparatus.
Yeah, just the turnout gear like that, the pants and jackets and stuff, right? But it also, as well as good as it is at keeping heat out, it keeps heat in.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're out on asphalt rolling out hose and running stuff out, you're going to get pretty hot pretty quick.
Actually, this is something you didn't know. I actually was a volunteer back in the CFA when I lived in Victoria.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Wellington.
No,
where's
Kirkstall. So it was section 6, I think, right down fucking south.
Right.
But it's the most fire-prone area in the world.
Yeah.
At least my understanding. That's what they're told anyway. And I did this is years ago, I won't remember, but I did my wildfire course, and then the one after it, which is, we actually would go into a building.
Yeah. Like structural course.
Yeah. And that shit's fucking epic, but scary. And I was 17 at the time, maybe.
Yep.
And that shit's epic too.
It's pretty warm.
It's fucking warm.
Yeah.
But I had a really good rapport too with the dudes there, because I actually almost I was like, fuck, I actually really miss it, because I'm like,
maybe you should think about joining.
Well, the only problem is my time. This sounds like an excuse, I know.
No.
But I'm like, fuck, I have fucking so little time.
Yeah.
And I guess with I haven't looked into it, but as well as like military and our healthcare, our everything on that too.
Yeah.
I've actually looked into joining CFS, and I'd love to again. But even just personal relationships with the dudes from back at Kirkstall Fire Brigade, fuck, I miss them.
Yeah.
Such good lads.
They call it a brotherhood.
Yeah,
it is. And that's not to denigrate females. They say that the fire service is the world's biggest family.
I had a conversation, more than an argument. It was a conversation about this the other day with the guy, I won't say his name, but fairly well-known fella, about saying brotherhood in the army.
Yeah.
Brotherhood to me is not. It's not sexual oriented.
No.
It's like saying spokesman.
Yeah.
Yes, man's the end of the word, but the word is spokesman. That can say for anyone.
Yeah.
Brotherhood in the army and the fire relates to anyone in it.
Yeah. It's just a label.
It's genderless. It's no race, no anything. You are part of that. You're part, and I use brotherhood as a bit of it's everyone. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you do, what sex you are, what gender you are. It doesn't fucking matter. You're part of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are or run into a fire or anything up after you anyway.
Yeah.
And it is, Fire Brigade is a massive brotherhood. And I was only in it for maybe 9 months.
Yeah.
But at the time, I enjoyed it.
But you could literally go to New York City.
Yeah.
Right. And you could walk into a fire station and go, hey, I'm a fire in Adelaide. And you come in and have dinner. I had the same in London. Hey, you join us for lunch.
Yeah.
You know, are you serious? Yeah, come on in.
I was the same when I went to your station.
Yeah.
I went in.
You'll be accepted
just
every
like,
day of the
boys, I want to do a tire flip with you, whatever. And they're like, yeah, come in. The next thing, your boys making me fucking lunch.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but fuck that. They had there was like spinach and chicken. It was fucking epic.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I should go back there more.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. It's like
the shirt I'm wearing at the moment, if anyone sees, whichever way. It's from American Fire Brigade.
Yeah.
Guys were like, hey man, we love you. Fucking send it over. From the photo I put up of your station.
Yep.
They were like, hey, these are our sort of boys across the pond.
Yeah,
like,
I speak to a few fireys from like the US on Instagram and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, literally, if you're ever in my neck of the woods, you'll be looked after 100%. They're like, same here. It just is the done thing. It's what you do.
Yeah.
So
Fuck,
there's
yeah.
that level of expectation.
So you jumped into the fire. He's sort of full boring. And then what was that first few sort of weeks or months like?
Oh, it was great. It was like it's very much because my dad was in the job at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like for me, it was like I got two reputations to uphold here. I've got to create my own, but I've also got to protect his.
Yeah.
If I'm a fuckhead,
Now, what rank was he at the time, or what position?
he was senior firefighter.
Yeah.
And I was like probie.
Okay.
You know, so and I was lucky enough that I come out of recruits and I went straight back out to Salisbury.
Yeah.
And the old Frost Road station that's there, not the brand new one that's on the corner of the Grove Way and that there. That's an amazing station, but it's always been very busy out there. At the time, we had a normal pumping appliance. We had a rescue truck as well.
Yeah.
And it was the only rescue truck between us at Salisbury and Gawler. So Elizabeth didn't have a rescue truck, and the next closest rescue truck was Adelaide, I believe.
So what does the rescue truck have? Like your Jaws of Life?
Yeah,
and
yeah. So you got Rams, the Jaws,
climbing
spreaders.
like
yeah, rope line
like
rescue
roping,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so airbags and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So like if we need to lift a truck or a bus or something like
Yeah.
that, we can stick the airbags under there with all these manifolds and actually do a multi-ton lift to relieve the pressure and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of gear to know.
Yeah.
And at that time, 2005, 2006, I think even 2007 to an extent, that stretch of road between, I think, McIntyre Road and May North Road and out to Smithfield and Munapara Shops, or probably a bit further than Munapara Shops, had the highest number of fatalities in South Australia on the road. And Salisbury MFS was the rescue truck that was doing it all. So and we're doing all the cutouts and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, and that's a whole other skill set and a whole other, you know, you think you go to a burning building and you've got to get somebody out and you've got to find them and you've got this much time and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's still time constraints when you've got somebody trapped in a car to get them out.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the quicker that you can get that person out of the vehicle into medical care and into an emergency department, the better it is. Like they used to talk about the golden hour.
Golden hour, yeah. Same in the army.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know the golden hour, now I'm not saying this is not a rule of thumb.
No.
But if you can be on a surgery table within an hour, you have a fucking good chance. Like the things surgeons can do are fucking incredible.
Well, we got MedStar here as well now.
Yeah, now MedStar
They
are
are
a
next
paramedic who roll with the fire. Is that correct?
No. So Bill Griggs.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's probably the number one emergency doctor in South Australia.
Yep.
I think I could be wrong. I don't know, but
Dan Prong will want to fight you for that.
I've met well Dan Prong, mate. I want to meet that guy.
He's coming on this in a couple of weeks.
That's my bucket list, Dan Prong.
Oh, if that's honestly your bucket list, me and Dan are mates. Me and Dan will go. He's away at the moment.
Yeah.
But he's coming on the show soon. I'll try and sort out that we have a fucking beer together or something.
If I could sit down and just listen to Dan Prong, I don't even want to say a word while he's talking. That guy. Like, no, it's not good enough for me to be a doctor. No, I'll be SAS as well.
Yeah, no.
What? Like, oh, yeah, you can just be a medic with the SAS in bed.
And his brothers are fucking legends too.
No. I'll get the beret. It's like,
yeah, no.
You're talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
Fucking beast.
Jesus,
He's a rig. His brother actually has a podcast called The Unforgiving 60.
Right.
Actually, I've literally just popped up on the phone.
Look that up. Yeah.
Unforgiving 60 is fantastic podcast. So it's I'm going to get this wrong, but it's Dan's brother and his. Oh my fuck! It might be
is
both
he an artist
brothers.
as well, Dan's brother?
Well, so they've both got. So the guys around Unforgiving 60 are both SAS guys with masters of business.
Oh, so they're all low achievers, obviously.
Yeah, low achievers. You know, fires and cops who left at U10. You know, fucking. I know. I'm shit at everything. Can I have like one part of what you're fucking good at? God damn. Like fuck. But legend. We'll sort that out. We'll sort that out after this.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Sorry. So you're going on about what was his name? The guy.
So Bill Griggs.
Bill Griggs. Sorry. Yeah.
You know, so MedStar come out. So if we I remember going to a car accident one day on May North Road, and this poor lady had an accident. She had a trailer on. She hit a tree in a car, and her legs had concertinaed up under the dash the opposite way to what legs are designed to go.
Nice.
You know, and it's like it's pretty nasty. It was nasty for her, quite obviously.
I've got the. If anyone who doesn't know, I was just trying to pour wine. I was like, why is this not coming out? And I had the fucking lid on the container.
I wish Bill Griggs was here to help us.
Bill Griggs saw that.
So Yeah, so Ambos get out there, they're saying, oh, okay, we're going to need MedStar, retrieval essentially. So they take people from emergency departments and doctors, etc., and they come out and they've got a whole other set of kit and toys and tools, and they can do field amputations and all sorts of stuff.
Jesus.
They're amazing. And
I've heard about MedStar, so I think in Victoria they're the mica paramedics, like MC.
Right, yeah.
And I've heard about them cracking open chests and massaging hearts.
Wow.
In the fucking front seat of the car.
Right.
So I have a girlfriend of mine who, a medic in the army, was posted with a mica paramedic, which is the same.
Yep.
Well, I'm assuming the same anyway. In the fucking front, he was driving, cracked open the chest, and was massaging some dude's heart on the way to the fucking hospital, cruising like a fucking gangster on the way.
Guys can only do one thing at once, hey?
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't.
No, that's all right. Yeah, so like,
in my head.
This. And we said, like, okay, what do you want us to do? So we'd followed the dash, we'd exposed everything as best we can to get this poor lady out, taking the roof off the car.
But are you guys as well trained? Like, I know you're all first aiders, but are you trained in a further first aid to, like, so say something's on a leg, you could jaws of life that often kill them. Are you guys trained in, like...
No. Well, we work in conjunction with the paramedics.
Okay, yeah. So if something's restricting, you'll never cut it off.
They will look and they will say, we need X, Y, Z.
Good to go.
And they'll say, how can you facilitate it?
Yep.
And we go, we can do this, that and the other. How does that work for you? So you work as a team always. But they're... Like, paramedics are amazing. They will always look at stuff and just go, oh, we need this done now. And you go, okay, here's how we can do it. Does that suit you?
They're fucking legends.
You know, like in this case, like Bill Grigg said, okay, none of this is working. She's pretty badly entrapped. We need to get her out now. Just basically dosed her up with drugs, and we got her out of the car. But it's just, they can just do stuff that, you know, it's these the skills of these people that are at the disposal of the community on a daily basis is epic. Yeah. You know, my Wi-Fi's not working very well, you know, but these people, like...
Yeah, man. Yeah. You should, while I'm actually thinking of it, we should try and get Bill Griggs on this.
Bill Griggs would be an amazing person to talk to.
Yeah, I'll fucking, I don't have a pen on me, but I should put that down.
And I hear he's got an amazing wine cellar under his house, so I'll come and help you.
We'll do the podcast. Podcast in the wine cellar. Holy shit, that's one of those things that you guys are faced with. I guess, like, how often would you guys would come to a incident where it's like not a fatality, like a serious incident, as far as MVA, like motor vehicle accident, through to something where someone's seriously hurt? How often is that?
There's no real rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
It's.
But like, is it a daily occurrence for the boys, like the fireys?
Not necessarily.
Firefighters.
Might not even be weekly.
Yeah.
You might go in fits and starts where you just go to fender bender, and then all of a sudden have an industrial accident with some poor guy wrapped up in a machine. You know, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. There's no pattern to it or anything like that. And
how did you go about? We won't go into specifics.
No.
You're a bloke in society who's seen and done a lot.
Yeah.
And that's given that we have people know what firefighters do.
Yeah.
As far as mentally dealing with seeing some of that shit.
Yeah.
Seeing women, children, men your own age, everything sadly killed, seriously injured. How did that sort of affect you, and how did you sort of deal with that, and how do the fireys tend to deal with that?
Well, we have an amazing system that the fire service management have put in place, employee support. So anytime we go to a job that is exposure to trauma of some description, the officer will put in a report saying these people that were on this truck have been exposed to XYZ.
Okay. And how is that actually graded? Is it like a fill-out form and it gives you
a fill-out form, and it will just go off to employee support section. They'll come out and have a chat to us straight away. And they say, guys, girls, are you okay? Like, what does anyone want to talk to somebody? You know, and they've got Denise Keenan, who runs, I think it's Cognition.
Okay.
And so there's always counselling available. And also, I guess the other thing that we're very lucky is if you put your hand up and you go to employee support and you go, you know what, I've got a problem. I'm really not feeling good.
Yeah.
I need to talk to somebody. They'll say, yep, no problem. You become a number.
Yeah.
Not a name that's bandied around. You know, so some employers, you might have to go to your manager.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
And you go, oh, my name's Dan and I've got a problem. They go, oh, I'll send you employee support. And then the manager goes, Dan's got a problem. Whereas the fire service, I go to employee support. It's dealt with confidentially.
Yeah.
They put you through and they make sure you're okay. Like, it is fantastic system.
Fuck, that is. I didn't.
The
Even,
MFS is so, like, we've 800 people or 900 people have been put through mental health first aid in the last year. Like,
I guess you guys do. You do mandatory mental health training as well. I'm guessing to some degree.
well, the mental health first aid was deployed, so it was 2 days training.
Yeah,
And so
we
rock up to work at 8 o'clock in the morning on the truck, and they say, "Oh, you're going down to Angle Park Training Centre today." So the truck's taken off the run and replaced with a replacement crew and etc. You're going down, you're doing this training, and you do 2 days of it, and it's fantastic.
And it is fucking important. Now, you might know this, but is the suicide rate of serving firefighters lower than the rest of society?
I don't know the statistics on that. I know MFB, and it's Melbourne Fire Brigade have had quite a significant rise in suicides over a period of time. They've had a few.
Yeah.
We've had one just recently,
okay.
which was one of my shift mates.
Yep. Was that a direct cause of an incident that's happened, or
I don't know the circumstances behind it. I'd hate.
Either way, it's tragic.
It's tragic. Yeah, I would hate to.
And we'll send
talk any further on.
Yeah, no. I don't want to go there, but we'll.
But
send
we're
our
aware
love.
of it. Yeah. But like the difference, I guess, between us and the MFB is they have first responder, which is different again.
Okay.
So if there's a medical emergency close by and an ambulance can't get there quick enough, they'll send a fire truck.
Okay.
With defib and their first aid skills.
Yeah.
So there's arguments for and against. First responder and suicide rates and correlations and all that. We're not paramedics.
Yeah,
we're not trained as paramedics.
Yeah, where I was going with that was more that there's a guy called Sebastian Junger who's an author / sort of psychologist.
Well, I've read some of his books. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one called Tribe that talks about it's in relation more to army,
right?
But it's more to do with people who know where they belong.
Yes.
Have a significantly better mental health state, no matter what they're exposed to, better mental health than those who don't know where they belong.
Yeah.
And he brings out all these sort of examples of, like, in the army, because he integrated with the American Army Rangers, who are a special forces unit, for 12 months in Afghanistan.
Holy shit, yeah.
They had a better mental health score. Don't forget what was going on to them. They were getting fucking shot at, blown up. They had a better mental health than when they come back. Wow. When they started discharging, because they lost the tribe, so to speak.
Yes.
And he talks of humans have been living in this tribe for 200,000 years.
Yeah.
In the last 100, we've lost this community engagement.
Yeah.
Now, and I am going somewhere with this, so some people have talking shit.
And look, this definitely correlates to life on a fire station.
Yeah, is the lowest suicide rate ever in London is when the Germans were bombing London. Was the lowest suicide rate it's ever been.
Yeah, because people are brought together.
And he talks about they were all in the bomb shelter together. Yeah. They all went home together. They went to work together. All of this. And if you look at now, there's army statistics show this too. You're in the army. The army serving members have an incredibly low. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's an incredibly low suicide rate compared to members once they leave. And he actually talks about this tribe that humans we've lived 0.1% of our existence, like, who we are, not in this tribe. Yeah. And I guess that is, and I would presume firefighters have an incredibly good mental health once they leave, really struggle.
Well, I've watched my dad struggle.
Lose that.
My dad's retired, and it's like people go, "How's your dad going?" And I go, and nothing against my father, I love him to bits, but they go, "How's your dad going?" And you go, "Oh, he's all right." What's he doing? Well, basically annoying the shit out of mum full time. But it's like he doesn't have anything.
But the best thing for you guys is if you have a problem, it never blossoms into something. You have a bad car accident where someone dies, and that's traumatic for you. You go back to the station with the guys. Yeah. You fucking talk shit.
I'll give you the hot tip, right?
You get up the next morning and you talk about it.
All the world's problems are solved at the dinner table in a fire station.
Fucking A. Yeah.
I mean, it never goes any further. But I tell you what, we got all the answers while we're eating.
we need Donald Trump and Putin and whoever else to come.
You know what they should do? They should do this. And then you have your dinner, and then you do the dishes together, and all that. Everything is done as a family, as a tight knit. Like people don't understand. It's like at a fire station, you are living together. It is a functioning, living organism where you get up, you eat breakfast together, you talk together, and then you see the worst shit ever together, and then you come back and what's for lunch?
But that makes you that makes you the tribe.
Yeah, it's a tribe. It is very tribal.
It's a fucking tribe.
And that's man, woman, black, white.
That is nothing.
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because there's no colour and there's literally no gender behind a helmet and a breathing apparatus mask and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. There's nothing.
No, not at all.
It's And
I know it's the same in defence that more women are getting more and more into the fire service, army, everything. I think it's almost promotion of it.
I think generally, even with the fire service, it's like you talk to some women and you go, and I go to like CrossFit Lactic at Modbury.
Yeah.
Great place, right? There's some girls there that are going, oh yeah, I'm thinking about joining the fire service, but I don't know whether I can get in. It's like, are you kidding me?
While they're snatching 130 kilos.
Correct. It's like, have you seen me
working out on the fire?
I would be so grateful to work next to you any day of the week. It's just like the MFS have been really good with this. It's pushing. For women, have you actually considered this as a career path? Because generally the education is not there. They go, this is open to you. It's like a light bulb moment. I haven't actually considered that's a career option for me.
Yeah.
Because, it's like now that it's there, it's a whole wide world. I don't, if you're capable, I don't care who I work next to.
That's I think every bloke's stance on this, every decent bloke's stance is, as long as, I don't give a shit who you are. As long as you reach what I've reached the standard, you're fine.
Yeah, and I actually go even one step further a lot in defending women that have come before. That if there's talk sometimes they go, oh, well maybe they'll dilute the standards of recruitment. That hasn't happened in the fire service. I can tell you now, it hasn't happened. But if they were to, that actually devalues the women that have gone before that have passed that stuff.
I won't go into my opinion on this.
Those women are the biggest advocates of non-dilution.
Exactly. It's one of those things. Now, I won't go too far down the political path, just due to my service, but one of the I'd always put the best soldier I ever worked with was I was a crew commander in Afghanistan of a vehicle. Yeah. So I have a driver. My partner is a driver.
Yes.
Female driver, Abby Courtney, she won't mind me saying her name, was the best soldier I've ever worked with in my fucking life.
Yeah.
As far as your basic soldier skills.
Yep.
She made me look fucking bad. Like, I'd get out of bed to go on the vehicle, and it's my shot, and I'm we'll call it first parade. You guys will do the same, I'm guessing, to make sure the vehicle's ready to roll out the fucking door.
Every morning, every day.
Same as us.
Yep.
I would get up. I was almost like, I'm going to try and see how early I can get up because I want to do it.
Yep.
She's up for me every fucking time.
Yeah.
Doing it, and people might think this little thing. No, that went onto every single thing she did.
Yeah.
She made sure that she'd be eaten and ready to go. Yeah. She'd be dressed and ready to go.
Yep.
Every best fucking soldier I've ever worked with. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying she was a transport corps, so okay, you take her on the range, she may not be. She hasn't had the standard of training of us, of an infantry person. That's fine because that's not their fucking corps.
Yeah, correct.
But I tell you what, as far as the fucking standard of soldiering, holy shit, I looked bad compared to her.
Well,
and I think...
But I think the key word is there is soldier. It's not him or her. It's soldier.
I put that with everything. I go,
that's fantastic.
You're in the army, you're a soldier first. I don't give a shit if you're a man, woman, transgender, non-binary. I don't give a shit what you do, with your background, you're anything. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You are a soldier first.
Yeah.
Same with you. You are a firefighter first.
Correct.
I don't give a shit who you are.
Yep.
You'll wear that uniform. You'll pull me out of a building. I'll pull you out of a building. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. No.
And to be honest, I think people almost put that there may be 1% of people that are different to that.
Yeah.
But the silent majority, as I call it, everyone calls it, is we're quiet about it, but that's what people think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an incredible thing.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, I don't care who I work next to as long as they can do their job.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
People thinking you do your job, you're fine. I don't give a shit, and that's becoming more and more, man. Fuck, people don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
I have some of my best mates in the army are gay.
Yep.
And I remember one of my friends coming out to me as gay. Firstly, it was like no shit, but then it was like, bro,
took you this long to tell me?
Literally, but it was like, man, we don't care.
No.
And he's like, I thought you would. I'm like, no. This guy, I know, I won't say his name, just because
no.
but he's a beast. Like, no shit. If I'm pinned down somewhere, he'd be top 5 dudes. I want to come over me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, we don't care. Like, no one gives a shit. Like,
you know, and
I care
like
about you.
This may be
Yeah.
a very basic view. I don't understand what society's obsession is with what people's proclivity is behind closed doors.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
If it doesn't affect what you do, who cares?
You love women, you love women, you love men, you love men. What you like? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
How does it affect me? It doesn't affect me.
And I think that's sort of moving on with the fire thing.
Yeah,
You speak incredibly highly of the fire service.
I love it. It's as a
but
child, it's put a
that's-
roof over my head. It's
Yeah.
provided for my family. Like my dad worked 2 jobs.
Yeah.
You don't join the fire service because you want to be a millionaire.
No.
All right, you're
No.
a public
No one.
service
No,
worker.
fuck no. Yeah, no.
It's a calling more than anything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we earn good money. I'm not going to say that we don't either.
Yeah, well, my rebuttal, I'm not saying you don't earn good money,
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, you've done this first and foremost because you're a good person wanting to do good things.
well, it's because it's what I want to do.
The way I put it too is, and I'll put it to soldiers as well.
Yeah.
If you put the time, effort into a business
Yes.
or whatever, you would be fucking rich.
Yeah, but I'd be unfulfilled.
But it's not why you do it. Yeah.
As a person, I'd be unfulfilled.
If you put your 12-hour shifts into whatever, your own business,
yeah.
your own interests, like monetary interests,
Yes.
you'd be a rich man.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in that.
I think that's the key, almost take-home point from this.
it is.
We don't do it for the money. No one ever does it for the money.
Everyone wants to be-
firefighters do get paid well,
Yeah.
but fuck, I could pay a guy fucking $1 million a year who's a firefighter. I don't give a shit.
Well, there's a few things that you're gonna, you know what? It's becoming more and more prevalent now, as a firefighter, as a career firefighter, and as my dad being a firefighter, a career firefighter as well. So my dad joined the Metropolitan Fire Service in 1973.
Yeah.
And did 43 years.
Holy shit, that's a
Right, so
lot.
he retired at 65.
Yeah.
Right, and he had bowel cancer in the meantime.
Yeah.
Had that all taken out and cut out, and then rushed back to work. My dad went back to work while he was off with the bowel cancer a week before Christmas because he just wanted to get back to work. I said, Dad, why don't you, just take a bit more time? No, I'm all right. I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. And now he's had multiple problems because of, like bowel resection and then hernias and all this sort of stuff. Like they had to recently cancel a trip to Europe. It was their dream after my mum and dad, after Dad retired, that they were going to use a super and go and tour Europe. 3 weeks before they go, he's got triple hernia.
But you know the thing is, if you replayed your dad's life, you could give him 1 million lives over.
Yeah.
He'd do the fucking same thing every single fucking time.
My dad has missed more family milestones. Like my 30th birthday, right? I had heaps of guys from the Fireys there. My dad was on duty that night at Golden Grove Station. It was his shift, and I said, "Can you get the night off?" No, I'm not taking the night off.
I'm on duty.
So I'm on duty. So are you sure? Yeah. Why don't you have a sickie? Because sick leave is a privilege, not a right.
It's when I'm sick.
And it's like, all right, no worries. It's like, but that's what I've been brought up with.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, it shows. Yeah.
And it's you no matter how bad things are in your life, when you go to the fire station and you sit down with your family and you talk about it at the table and you eat together as a group and you see bad shit as a group and you deal with good shit as a group and you fight and argue and you're saying this and you're doing that and I don't like that. Like, it's literally like a family. Yeah, it's an amazing dynamic that you can't replicate.
Anyone thinking of getting the Fireys, that's a big That's a big thing.
And don't sit there and say, I don't know whether I can. Well, you don't know until you try. Have a crack.
But the thing is too, and this is with the army and the cops. Army and fires and everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a fucking athlete. You don't need to be. There is a baseline of fitness, of course.
Yes.
And a baseline of academic skill.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fucking modest. Like, we're not asking you to be Einstein. We're not asking you to be Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And I put these to guys all the time. Like, I'm doing this. I'm working out. Like, that's fine. Yeah. You're fitter than me. Fucking, you need to sign that bit of fucking paper and go in.
Yeah.
Do it. The worst that can happen is you get knocked back.
No,
the first time, you got knocked back 3 times. Was it?
Yeah, I only got in four times over 7 years.
So 4 times over 7 years. That's how long it took you to get in. Look at you now.
Yeah.
You couldn't be more content with
I got a good friend, Patrick Yonko. He's finished 12th in the Tour de France as a cyclist and all that. And I said to him, try again for the Fireys. Nah. So why not, Pat? He goes, you literally statistically
Yeah.
have more chance of making the Australian Olympic team than
Yeah.
getting into the fire service.
I think I think that's almost a bit of a turn away for guys.
It is, yeah.
It is fucking hard to get in.
But the day you don't get in is the day you don't try.
Exactly. But the one thing I'll put too from a military knowledge is it is now Australian law that if you're a veteran, you need to be interviewed for any job you go for.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an Australian law, federal law. They have whether it's Macca's, fucking railway station, or the fire cops, anything. No matter if you are an Australian veteran, they have to interview you.
Wow.
Because I think what they see is Army personnel have a lot of skills on almost like skills that aren't on paper.
Yes.
So they might have a bit of paper that says, well, I don't have many quals. I've got, whatever. But fuck, they're good with what they do.
Yeah.
So they actually need to interview them. And that's one of my big things is if you're an Army, I shouldn't say defence personnel,
Yes.
wanting to go fireys or whatever. See, like you were saying earlier, you had to get through the academic fitness before you got interviewed.
Current serving, or is that any ex-member?
Any ex-veteran. It's 18 months, 24 months old.
Right.
You have to interview them.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great. I think it's almost an undervalued thing to go through, and fucking
For
pull
me,
your
seems
fucking
like
weight with it.
It seems like a natural progression that
Yeah.
you come out of the services and you go into the emergency services. You're serving at a local level. It's a natural progression.
And I think it's a good thing too of like, because say I joined up, Ice on Fires. On paper, I've got nothing that really transfers. But if you interview me, it's like, well, I'm a Army first aider, I'm a combat first aider, I'm a advanced medical trauma trained.
Yeah.
They are civilian qualifications, but I'm advanced medical trauma.
Yeah.
I can do like needle fucking decompressions, everything. I know how to rock up to work on fucking time. I know how to dress and bearing
How to
myself.
be disciplined.
I shouldn't say myself. That's what they know, and I think this is why they have to interview them, because you might come across on paper as not much, and the interview is fucking brilliant, and you go through. So anyone military thinking, pull your fucking weight with that if that's what you want to do.
Have a go.
Fuck yeah, have a go. And I think that's a great thing. Now, one of the things I wanted to really touch on in this interview is myself being with cancer and the raised amount of cancers in the fire service.
Yes.
And I know this is close to your heart.
Yeah.
Close to my heart.
Yeah. My grandmother died of breast cancer.
Yeah. And as well, and this is not a fire service. This is not a SA fire service. Is MFS, isn't it?
Yeah, SMFS. Yeah.
MFS or CFS thing. This is Fire Service International.
Yes.
This is New York Fire Brigade has, and I know it's very, very prevalent in the Victorian Fire Brigade.
Yes.
Due to a few incidents with water,
we can talk about that
water
in a minute.
contamination. You know more about than me.
Or the PFAS stuff. Yeah.
Yep. That the guys who are heroes in our society, who are firefighters. I was going to say firemen. Firefighters have an incredibly increased risk of cancer.
Well, that's what we're talking about earlier about the pay rate.
Yeah.
There's two things as a firefighter. There's like, you're never going to be rich, and there's a fair chance you're going to die of cancer.
Yeah.
And it's like your skin is the biggest organ of your body.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also what absorbs all the smoke particulate and the carcinogenic particulate at any job you go to.
And liquids and chemicals in that liquid if it gets on you.
Yeah. It's just part and parcel. Like, if somebody can find a workaround as to how we're not going to be exposed to this and still service the community safely, I'm open. But it is just at the moment, it is a reality of the job. Yeah. You know, like we have this presumptive legislation that was passed in 2013. Our union fought for it. Our fire service fought for it. The government come to the table and like, we're going, you know what? Yeah, right.
Federal level government? Or state?
Well, state level government. Not all fire services have this. Okay. Yep. But the SMFS has it.
So what is that as far as...
So there's legislation in place now to say if you get one of these 12 cancers, we can attribute it to your job as a firefighter.
Yep.
And you are covered.
Do we know the 12?
I've got.
I know you have a list.
12 here. So
we'll go through them as far as like, fuck it. Just I don't know. It might help someone out in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's brain cancer, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, leukemia, breast cancer, testicular cancer, multiple myeloma, prostate cancer, ureteral cancer, colorectal, and esophageal cancer.
Yeah. And if anyone has any questions about that in particular, contact myself on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and I can send you to yourself. And it's fine. And that's an incredible thing for the guys who are
massive.
But like as well as that, if people listening to this listen to my second podcast, with I almost forgot his name. Anyway, a sleep scientist goes into shift work. Yeah. Shift work is considered a carcinogenic.
Yeah.
The shift work gives you cancer, and you guys work shift work around these chemicals and everything. So what is it? Is it the smoke? Is it the?
It's everything, and that's like even the sleep side of things. And this is the fascinating thing. And this is not having a crack at anyone, but generally, like in America, if you talk to a firefighter, they're held in really high regard over there. Yeah, right. Then we're held in high regard here. Don't get me wrong. But you go to a barbecue or a party or something like that. You go, what do you do? Oh, I'm a do this, that, and the other. Oh, cool. I'm in marketing. Oh, yeah. What do you do? What do you do? You're a fiery. Oh, yeah. All you guys do is sleep all the time. Oh, that's wonderful. That's not the reality.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I invite anyone out there to come and have a good night's sleep at a fire station, and you'll have a rude awakening. It is the rudest way to ever be awoken by fluoro lights and bells. And so you essentially have like the lights come on, the bells go, and you go from maybe a deep sleep or maybe a light sleep, depending on how many calls you've had. Yeah. Right. Now I'm listening straight away to the broadcast. The broadcast is telling me what I'm going to. And it's saying, structure fire, persons reported. So now we have a structure fire with people reported to be inside. So I'm going from sleep in a pair of jocks to getting dressed to then driving a 26-ton truck at 100 kilometres an hour. Yeah. Right. At 3 o'clock in the morning, taking directions from someone in the back, trying to get to this job as quick as I can.
Comms on going crazy,
Because I literally, every second counts. And that's not to dramatise things.
No, fuck no, trust me. No one's questioning that.
A left turn or a right turn or a wrong street can make all the difference. Kill someone. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you sleep all the time. Yeah, thanks very much. Like, you never ever pull anyone up and go, yeah, that's really funny. But that's not the reality. No. But then you do that 6 or 7 times a night. Like these guys in Adelaide Station that go into fire alarm calls all the time and stuff like that. They're up and down like God knows what. That doesn't do good things to your circadian rhythm or your life in general. But then they'll get up and function all day because it's technically they've slept at work, on 2 or 3 hours broken sleep. Or these guys out at Elizabeth and the crews at Woodville and all these different stations. Yeah. It's not glamorous.
And as well as I know the fellow, the sleep scientist, talked on this as well, that if you're like 4 stages of sleep, your last being like your REM sleep, when you're really, into it, that people, I don't want to quote him here, but it's along the lines of people expecting something to happen. Yeah. You actually never get into that 4th stage.
Right.
So, yes, you're asleep, but you're sitting in that sort of deep sleep's 3rd stage where you're actually fucking doing fuck all for you. Yeah. Because you're sort of expecting that alarm to wake.
It's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Now I know that they're very, very. I won't try and draw a comparison, but we had a quick reaction force in Afghanistan.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, so you go on for this is getting my memory. I think it's only 24 hours of time, but it rotates through. But for that 24 hours, you have to be from your bed, from wherever, from the gym, anywhere you are, to the front gate in 5 minutes.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And there was only 24 hours at a time.
Yeah.
But fuck me, like you're like, I'm sleeping with fucking boots on.
Yeah.
Shit. Because you never know.
So essentially, we've got our response time is generally 7 minutes.
Yeah.
From the time we receive the call to the time we arrive at the door of whatever it is 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's probably old. That's probably old timings based on stuff from the 80s. I saw something the other day that Max Adlam, the head of our union, posted on and said, like, currently house fires with the type of building products that people are using and, like your furniture, mass-produced furniture you can get from anywhere, house fires generally burn 8 times faster than what they did in the 1950s.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, when you think of 1950s, you've got old hardwood, solid wood, all this. Even, and I know it's terrible, but asbestos is very, very fire resistant.
Yeah, that's right.
I know that's a whole other kettle of fish, but like incredibly fire resistant. And if you have hardwood asbestos, fuck, you're burning slow. You've got this cheap IKEA fucking bullshit laminate stuff.
Yeah, but that's like, also the laminates and things that these people are using and the stuff they're gluing it together with. When it burns, it releases more carcinogens.
Exactly,
it's much more heavy.
That you guys are going into.
But one of the most dangerous situations that firefighters can go into, and it's come up as one of the most complacent ones as well, is your classic food burning on a stove.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, we'll just go in there. Oh, it's just some food burning on the stove. There's light smoke. You know, we won't even wear BA, like breathing apparatus mask, because we can go in there and take care of this. But the carcinogens that metal pot is letting off are horrendous.
Really?
And so that education has flowed down now over the last few years. It's gone, people, if there's smoke, put your breathing apparatus on. And because it gets in our gear, in our turnout coats and all that, and then that off gases when we come out. So you need to take that off and put it somewhere to let it off gas before you. Otherwise, you take your breathing apparatus off, your mask off, and I'm so hot. I come out of this house fire, have a drink of water, and don't worry, I'll go back in. Take your mask off. Your gear's off gassing directly upwards into your face.
Is there like a time frame for that?
I think it's like 20 minutes or 10, 20 minutes or whatever. But also the biggest absorber of carcinogens is things like that get hot, like your armpits, your neck, your groin, all those things that get hot and sweaty, and then those carcinogens are in your clothing. And then I remember my dad coming home from work, like he worked out at Elizabeth Fire Station for a number of years before Ridgehaven and Golden Grove and that, and he'd come home from work and he would stink. He'd been to fires all night and I could smell it straight away. He'd been to fires, Dad. Yeah. It's in his skin. His body's absorbed it, and that's even after showers and all that sort of stuff.
What are we doing about this?
Well, the fire service are putting a lot of things in place about clean cab policy, number one.
Yep.
So do not take soiled turnout clothing back into the cab and wear it again. You change your gear. You stow it in a bag, you put it in the back of the truck, that gets washed. You get back to station, you put fresh kit on, you have a shower, change all your clothes, wash yourself thoroughly and go. Years ago, when I joined in 2005, you'd come back from a car fire, you'd hang your jacket back in the truck, you'd hang all your gear back in the truck, you'd go back to station, and if you were tired, you just went back to bed. Because by the time you have a shower, you're wide awake, and then you've got to start your whole sleep wind down process again. You go, you know what, I'm fucked, I'm just going to go back to bed again. And you stink, you get in the truck in the morning, and you go, oh, Jesus, the truck stinks like burnt like the plastics and stuff that are in a car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, but you go, it's just a car fire.
Yeah.
So just breathe it all in, goes all in your skin, all through your gear.
So are you guys taught now to use breathing apparatus more and more?
Oh, it is standard.
Because I guess, and this is a pretty uneducated view on this. End of the day, putting breathing apparatus on is a tank of fucking air.
Yeah.
I know, as a scuba diving background, a tank of air costs $10.
Yeah.
Now, of course, a fire station, I'm guessing, has their own.
We got
compressor
in town. We got our compressor, but we always carry spare cylinders. It's a no-brainer.
It's basically fucking free.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, because I know this happens in the army too. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah.
That you tend not to. But is it becoming more commonplace? No. I don't give a fuck if a pot on the stove's hot.
The standard is you put
your fucking BA on.
The standard is you put it on.
Because I almost guess and this is me looking from a fucking outsider's perspective, that the pot's on fire inside. You've just walked in that front door. What if it's fucking not that, and the fucking roof collapses, or something happens, and you don't have your fucking BA on, or there's no one in the house. It's the stove's on, and there's a fucking gas. The worst case scenario. But if you've got your BA on.
Well, see, historically, the deal was that a lot of guys, a lot of crews, that you'd wear your BA and you just leave your mask dangling around your neck.
Yeah.
You never put it on. So technically, I've got it on, should things go to shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually wearing it and breathing air. Whereas now it's like, you got to look after yourself. But the education has become so much better.
Yeah.
So
and who's enforcing this? Is it someone like yourself, or is it?
Well, yeah, it's self-policing. But the recruits coming out of recruit school are taught all this.
Yep.
The fire service are sending out, standard operation procedures and standard admin procedures and putting out memorandums, and the education is there from the top down, and the medical, the medical proof, etc., is there. If the government is signing off on presumptive legislation, saying, you know what, if any of you people have this kind of cancer, you're going to be covered. That's a pretty big thing.
That's fucking brilliant. That's honestly fucking brilliant.
And so then, but then you're going, oh, you know what, I hope I never have to access any of it.
Oh,
I really do.
Course,
but the reality is 1 in 2 firefighters are going to die of cancer.
Is that the numbers?
That's the statistic.
Because that's a lot higher than,
how many old firefighters do you know?
Yeah, that's true. Well,
how many old firefighters are getting around like 80 years old?
The numbers in
society
is a little bit below 30% of people die of cancer. So if it's 1 in 2 firefighters, you're looking at a 20 to 30% increase in death of cancer.
Yeah.
And that's Do you think we're doing enough, or do you think there's more we can do as a society, as a government?
Well, I think there's always more that we can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
what would
but
you
where
see
do
the
you
next
stop?
steps as? Yeah, and that's the hard that. And I'm going to sound like a bit of a prick, but at some point, you're going into a fucking burning building.
Yeah.
At some point, you're a volunteer for this job.
Yes.
At some point,
do
take
you
on the
start
risk.
looking at manufacture of combustibles?
Yeah.
Do you start looking at furniture? You go, oh, we're going to ban that because
Yeah.
because
at some
the
point,
level of carcinogen that's going to let off should it burn.
Yeah.
Like I don't have
because at
the
some
answer
point
for
there's
that.
going to be a point where those two sort of, your price and your everything meets in a graph, and it's like, well, look, we're just going over the top.
I'm going to say something really stupid
No,
right
go
now.
go.
I really don't care. I'd still do the job.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
I understand. If they said you can go to Afghanistan without body armor, I'd go.
yeah.
You're the exact same.
It's yeah. It's. I mean, I was lucky enough in 2015. We went over to Melbourne to do the group of us to do the firefighter stair climb.
Yep. Eureka Skydeck?
No, it's not Eureka. It's the Crown Metropole.
Oh, okay, yep.
It's 28 floors or something like that. And
Because I did the Eureka Skydeck. It's 88 floors.
yeah,
And I almost fucking died.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
it's it's intense. So you go over there and every year they pick a different charity. So 2015 we went over and it was the Peter MacCallum Cancer
Yep.
Centre.
Yeah. Very.
And so we do the 28 floors in full kit. So 30 kilos worth of gear, breathing air and all that. The guy that won it, Michael Ward, who's a mate of mine, did it in like 3 minutes 20. 28 floors in 3 minutes 20.
Fuck.
So he's no slouch.
No.
But at the end, they have like a presentation thing at the Munich Brauhaus on the South Bank and all that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So basically, a family get together of all these fireys from all over the world, the New York fireys, New Zealand fireys, and all that. But the thing that resonated with me, that was the first time I'd ever done it, was the head of the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre stood up. And he said, "You guys collectively have raised $600,000 today."
Fuck yeah, good on you.
It was really good.
Fuck yeah.
But the thing that I really liked was he stood up and he said, that $600,000 will pay for. And he went through it. And then he had people that are doing research. They said, my research is now funded for 2 more years because of what you guys have done. But then the kicker was this guy that got up, this Scott Morrison, right, this fiery.
I thought you said ScoMo. Oh,
ScoMo,
yeah.
No, this is a good Scott Morrison,
Yeah.
right? A useful Scott Morrison, not political. So this guy's firefighter Morrison got up, and he was on his 3rd round of cancer as a fiery. So he'd had cancer, then he'd beaten it, chemo, all this sort of stuff, then rediscovered more cancer, then beat it, blah, blah, blah. I can tell you, there was probably 600 or 700 firefighters in this room and waitresses and all that. And this guy was talking. There wasn't a dry eye in this room, right? He was on his 3rd round. And you know what he was doing? Not about surviving or anything like that. He was setting up a respite centre in Queensland for firefighters and their families that might have had cancer.
Yeah.
So much the same as you, what you're going through, and you're working on behalf to help other people's lives. This guy, with what he was going through, his concern wasn't for himself. His concern was for others.
What a fucking hero.
Oh, absolute legend. Like we'd won I think we'd won a medal as best team or something, or third team or something like that. And I didn't get the chance to do it, and it still kills me to this day. And I was like, I was going to go and give him the medal and say, hey Scott, take this, and I'll be back next year with a heap of other guys to raise money, and I'll get the medal back off you. But he died, unfortunately, before we got there the next year. But later on that night, under the influence of alcohol, the first time I met Mike Ward, he left his trophy as the winning guy there. And I'd actually taken the trophy and I'd put it with all our other stuff. And he come around and go, any of you guys seen a trophy? I said, oh yeah, I got it here, man. There you go. He goes, oh, I'm Wardy, I'm Dan. And then we're like drinking. We found that we both had a mutual like of cycling and all that sort of stuff. I said, you know what, Wardy? We're going to ride here next year. A group of SAMFS guys, we're going to ride here. And we're going to ride all the way and we're going to collect money across the way and all that sort of stuff. He goes, cool. And I said, cool. And then we did nothing about it until about the March. And the stair climb was in the September 2016. And I spoke to our chief, our deputy chief at the time. I said, look, I've floated this. What do you reckon? He goes, no, we'll back you. No problem. So
Fuck yeah.
you can go to this 2IC of your emergency service and say, we want to do this. Will you help us? He goes, yep, no problem at all.
What a fucking
It's
legend,
like,
eh?
awesome. You know what?
Fucking
And
legend, yeah.
So then we put a group together. We put this big group together, a working group and all that, and we delegated all these different jobs, you know, like, because there's lots of, like we said, we're going to ride the Great Ocean Road. So
Yeah.
there's lots of things that you need to take into account, you know, different shires that you ride through. In Victoria, you need permission to ride on the Great Ocean Road, and there's all these things. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing that we had, like my number one rule for the whole thing was there was no dilution of money.
Yep.
You know, so like historically, if you get like a non-for-profit organisation or a charity, you're still paying a CEO. Oh, and that CEO then drives a nice BMW because they're the CEO. You go, that's money funneled away from the cause. So we go, we're not paying for accommodation. Good. So what we did was we put the feelers out, and so we went MFS, we went to CFS stations.
Yeah.
People were coming through here. Can we stay at the station? Yep, no problem. So we slept in sleeping bags on the engine room floor of fire stations to save money, to make sure that every cent we raised went directly to the charity.
See, I do similar. So my whole thing is I donate 100%.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of sometimes people might have to go at me here, but I actually don't donate myself because I see it as like, well, this event I'm running is costing me $1,000.
Yes.
That's my donation.
Yeah.
My donation is the money yes, my money isn't going directly into this, but it's I'm funding my own event, so I can guarantee you if you donate me $1, 100 cents, that fucking whole dollar is going to cancer research.
Yeah, that's right.
My donation is my money in accommodation and whatever, but I 100%. I think that's a fucking fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Just a quick note: if whoever's listening, if you have any questions about the fire service in any regard, send them through now in the chat because as we're sort of wrapping up in the next whatever, can chat about whatever, but
we
just so there's some there. We're this next thing's like an 8-hour fucking stream. Like holy shit!
How about them Nazis?
Yeah. Oh fuck. We've covered a fucking lot.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, shit. No. I'm happy to go wherever. And where do you see? Well, firstly, where do you see the fire brigade going in the next 10 years?
That's a really good question. I don't actually know. Like, a lot of people talk about AI, autonomous vehicles and all that sort of thing. And it's like I don't know where technology's at. But there's still that human touch that I can foresee being needed. That if you go into a house fire, we use thermal imaging cameras, but they won't show you everything. Yeah. There's still that dexterity, that feeling that you need, to feel around. And then you got to go. And then if you drag someone out, you might get them out the back door, and everyone's around the front, and you start doing CPR on somebody, and that's a pretty complicated level of technology, robot-wise, that's going to have to facilitate all those things. So the fire service is constantly evolving as new threats and new risks arrive, I guess, and new equipment comes on. I don't see the fire service changing a whole lot, really, only in diversity of the workforce as people become more and more aware that it is an optional career stream for them. But just the main changes I see is probably in our level of safety equipment. Yeah. And our technology of how to assist people. And is that constantly
evolving as far as your turnout gear, everything? Is that?
Yeah, well, we had the government, the Minister, Mr. Wingard, the Premier, Mr. Marshall, and a few other people in the news at Adelaide Station yesterday announcing a massive budget increase to give us new helmets. Yep. The helmets we wear are 20 years old. Not the actual physical helmet, but the technology is 20 years old. Yeah. And new breathing apparatus sets. So the breathing apparatus gear that we use now, we were testing when I come through recruits in 2005.
Fuck, yeah.
So that's starting to get pretty old.
Oh, yeah, fuck, I know. Since I've been in the army, I've changed helmets 3 times.
Yeah, that's
to new
right.
tech.
Yeah.
I know it's protecting against different stuff.
Yeah.
It's ballistic tested, but even then, like...
Well, the helmets I
can't see why the technology in my helmet that I wear can't be integrated. If I can stop a fucking bullet, let's put it in yours. Fuck it.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's like but the helmets we wear essentially protect the top of our head, the back of our neck. Like a lot of people don't know that the fire service helmets have like a plume in the middle of them.
Yeah, almost ridge line.
Yeah,
through it.
That dates back to the Roman times.
Really?
That's a kickback to Roman helmets.
Yeah.
And so the old brass helmets that had the big plume on the top of them, that was the inbuilt safety device that should something drop on your head, that crushed sideways.
It tends to,
and there was always like an embossed dragon on it. So you're fighting the dragon like the fire, But it kicks back because the samurai, historically in Japan, and the Roman soldiers in ancient Rome, they were the firefighters as well.
Yeah.
So
oh, yeah, no
it's
shit.
it's a nod to that sort of stuff.
It's cool as fuck.
Yeah, and so but now like our helmets that we wear now offer no side impact protection.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know, so the new stuff they're looking at is amazing. It's and it's multi-use as well.
I'm going to guess here, due to funding, the MFB in Melbourne is a head-in gear.
Well, they're a bigger service.
They're a bigger service. Better. Victoria has a lot more money.
Yeah.
They use more of a almost like an open face
like
push bike helmet.
Fighter pilot
comes.
helmet.
That's a better. Yeah, almost like a fighter pilot helmet.
That's what we'll be going.
That's what you're going to.
So they got double visor. So they got a visor that you can use at road crash rescue, etc. That will just protect your eyes,
Clear
and
lens,
then a thermal visor that will come back over the top of your BA set and stuff. So that's what we'll be looking at. So it's whatever helmet they decide to go with will be that style.
But like even then, like as a taxpayer, I don't give a shit if you guys get fucking. If they say $10,000 a helmet, I'll be fucking good. Take my money. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, we're very lucky that that funding's come through. I mean, money's tight everywhere at the moment. It's
you're right.
There's no one getting like, here's $20 million to spend on whatever you want. It's not going well.
No.
So the fact that the government has identified that, the fire service have identified that we need to do the XYZ, they've written a case and it's been accepted. That's a fantastic thing. We're very blessed. We've got a good union. We've got a good management in the fire service, and it's a very positive thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm just typing here. I got caught out. Then I thought I was like, he's going to talk for longer.
Are you getting questions? Sorry.
No. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I want to go for promotion for station officer.
Yep.
I've got to really future-proof myself as well because I'm 42 now. Like, I don't really want to be, dragging tools and stuff at 55. Yeah. My dad should have retired probably 5 to 10 years earlier than what he did.
Yeah.
It's like it's one thing to have this job, and it's a bit of a trap because it is so good, and the camaraderie is so good. And you sit around the table, and you go to jobs together, and you talk about all this stuff, and that's a draw card, but it's also a trap because then you work so long that your actual quality of life once you retire is not there anymore.
Yeah.
So it's I guess a balancing act.
Yeah.
So
and I guess too, I know Dan Pronk, we talked about him earlier. He talks about the leaving the tribe.
Yeah.
You're almost like, well, what if I leave and then these guys get in trouble? I'm not there.
Yeah.
I guess that's a pretty big one that plays on
me too. A lot of retired,
to some degree,
retired guys will come back to the station and sit down with us and have coffee and all that.
Yeah,
because it's just like you just can't separate fully.
Yeah.
And the good, in the fire service, they have a retirement dinner every year for the people that are retiring. Yeah. And it's amazing. But everyone that's retired prior usually comes as well.
Yeah. And before I forget too, so for that fucking stair climb in September, did you say it was?
Yeah, early September, in Melbourne.
Fuck, get me on. I'm on board.
Well, come with me.
I'm more than happy to. I'll either come as I'll try and bring my body armor and shit down.
Yeah.
And do it as a military member.
Yeah.
Or at worst, I'll be like, fuck it. Boys, give me some shit. I'll
speak to the organiser. Because I want to do one in November as well, but I was actually going to talk to you about like putting something on the cylinder of my asset about Willy beating cancer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I know that's not the chosen charity of the event, but let's do something that can just, draw attention to what you're doing too.
Oh, I'm more than happy to promote that. They're all fantastic things.
Yeah.
That stuff's fantastic.
I think this year the Melbourne one is for MND.
Yeah, okay.
Every year it's a different charity. The year that we did the Ride to Climb where we rode over there was for the Children's Cancer Research Centre in Melbourne. We raised $25,000 by riding over there.
Yeah.
So, but every cent that we raised went to them.
That's
so
fucking epic.
It was good.
Yeah.
This year it's MND. So, and then I'm not sure what the Melbourne one is this year, but the one in Sydney that I want to do in November is for MND. Virus Climb for MND, but that's up Sydney Tower. So that's like pretty iconic as well.
Yeah. Fucking, I've done a stair climb, and not in any BA, just in running gear. I did the Eureka in 11 minutes 11 seconds. Yep. Fucked. Like, oh my fucking god! Because the thing, and you know more than this than me, but like the stairwell, like the emergency fucking stairs. After we had like 1,000 runners, there's no fucking air left in it.
No.
I was looking at the fires, the BA equipment, like at least you've got fucking oxygen, you prick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it gets hot.
Yeah.
And there's no fucking air.
Yep.
And the stairs are horrendous. I remember I ran the first 30 stories.
Yeah.
Clean skin. And then I was like, And I was looking like, I know
It's
this
such
building
a
is
measured
88.
effort. Yep.
And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm not even halfway.
And see, the problem is once you hit that, you don't recover again on the stairs.
Oh, shit.
Once you're already operating, you're in red. You're not going back into green again. You're staying
and
in
do you
red.
guys do much training on that? On like, if a high rise in Adelaide went up, what the fuck you do?
Well, we got standard operating procedures for all of that sort of stuff.
What would that say? Would it say you're going up, or would it?
Yeah, always. Yeah, so we would generally go 2 floors below the fire floor.
Yeah, okay.
And set up entry control there.
Yeah.
And look, every incident is different.
Oh, of course.
But we got keys that we can use the lifts, because lifts have a really, really bad habit of opening on the fire floor. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So
good.
So well, not real good, because if you're in there and the doors
open
and the whole yeah. So we use a key, and we can. It's like if you ever in the lift, have a look. There'll be
it's just fireman.
Key, firefighter key, right? So we can go. Okay, activate that key. We're going to go to this floor, and we might go 3 floors below, and then walk up and have a look, or 4 floors below. But generally, standard will operate 2 floors below. We'll have entry control, and then go up to the job. We'll boost and all that. It's not a small job. A high rise is never a small job.
Now, this may be. You do not answer this if you don't want to.
Yeah, sure.
Like 100% just be like, no, fuck you, Willy. In the case of 9/11, terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
If imagine that was in Australia, would you go up? Or was
it's your job?
Yeah, because I don't know how many guys we lost.
Yeah, 343.
343.
Yeah,
fucking horrendous, terrible. Because I know, and this is an untrained people, be like, God should not have gone up. But I guess at the end of the day, that's your job.
No, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You have to go up, but no one foresaw that those towers would come down.
I know. Well, they weren't meant to. Either.
No, and and see, then that became like the recent tragedy in London. The Grenfell Tower, or whatever it was in London.
Yeah.
So that was a consideration because of 9/11 straight away. Shit, this tower could give way. But what did they do?
Didn't go.
They still went up.
They did?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
They still go up.
Fuck.
Because that scenario could happen 100 times, and the towers only come down once.
Yeah.
Those towers were rated technically that they shouldn't have come down.
Yeah. So, there's some. I think it's a. Oh, look, take this as you will, like for people listening and whatever. You can actually listen to some of the radio transmissions between the fireys and down on the ground.
Yeah.
Of the towers, and it's fucking pretty chilling.
Yes.
Because there's a part in it where that's when the tower's gone.
Yeah.
And I think that gives the true embodiment of what those guys were fucking doing.
Yeah.
That they did not. They had complete disregard for their own safety.
Well, even when you watch that 9/11 documentary, there was the guy on there. He goes, "I went up the stairs. I thought we're just going to put the fire out." That's legit. That's like I'm just going to go up and put the fire.
But
I'd
even put it further. If they knew that building was going to come down, but they could save a few people, let's still go.
They'd still do the same thing.
That's the thing.
Can you imagine what the toll would have been like civilian-wise if they didn't do what they did?
Yeah, there's a big thing out at the moment about the dust sort of chemicals that came off those buildings and the increased risk of cancers in the NY fucking FD or whatever it is.
There's thousands. I think the death toll is like 1,000 from 9/11 so far.
Yeah.
John Stewart had that epic speech in front of all the Congress.
That's the exact one I'm responding to. Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that actually this morning. I watched it.
It was like cowards. They couldn't face it.
Yeah. It's
You could run that scenario, like that 9/11 scenario, 100 times, and I guarantee the loss of life of firefighters would still be the same because they would still do the same thing.
Still do the same thing.
And it's not bullshit, false bravado or anything like that. It's legit. Like that's their job.
Yeah.
You can't just stand there and go, oh, well, everyone in there is knackered. Like, if you have the capacity, and it's not even firefighters, right? If you have the capacity as a human to help another human being, you do it.
Do it.
Don't walk past
There's
that.
actually a weird one on that of a, I can't remember his name for the life, I fucking should. One of my favourite photographers, he actually was in New York when it happened.
Right.
And he actually had a really weird take because people were going, well, these photographers weren't helping. And the funny thing was, he went, no, I'm a photographer. I have no first aid skills. I've got no firefighting skills.
Yeah.
My job was to tell the world, show the world what happened.
He's telling a story.
And he said that was my job, was to show the world what had happened here so it doesn't happen again.
Well, what do people expect him to do? Stand back, I'm a photographer.
Well, they thought you put the camera down and do first aid.
On who? You're getting in the way.
That's what his whole thing was. No, I was in the way. And he actually didn't. He got a fair bit of flack for it. He did these portraits. I think incredible. As a person with a bit of photography interest, incredible portraits of firefighters. Literally, just like walked off the fucking building site, took like a face portrait of them to show what they'd been. You can sort of read it. You know, the picture tells 1,000 words thing. Like, you can see their face, like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And I know people, it's not a time and place. I'm like, well, it is. That's history.
Yeah, that's right.
This ensures
and that's
that
the beautiful
happen.
thing about our current level of technology is history gets told in far greater, higher aspect ratio than what it has been prior.
Yeah.
You know, like if he's standing in the hot zone of a job and preventing people and getting in the way, then yeah, that's not the time or place. But if this particular person is standing way back, people are coming out, he's not getting in their way, but he's still documenting history as it's unfolding. He's not hurting anyone.
No. If anything, he's making it fucking better because people understand what the fuck those firefighters went through.
Yeah, and also the ambos and the police and even the residents, you know, the people that were just at work and they come out and they're covered in that white shit that's probably killed them now or made their life exponentially worse. It's just, you know.
Well, look, we'll finish up there unless you've got any last things.
Always a pleasure. I'm
an
humbled by this experience.
Fucking pleasure, mate.
Somebody such as you would want to talk to me of all people.
Mate,
like,
trust me. You're meant to be on next Wednesday, I believe. But I just had to shift some things around.
Fine.
But
whatever you need, whenever you
honestly,
need it.
brother, I'm beyond appreciative of it. I think we've covered some really good shit. So for those of you who are listening to the podcast on either YouTube or Spotify, this will be the end of this episode 4 with Dan Graham, career firefighter. I hope you really have got something out of it. Feel free to drop a like or a subscribe or whatever, or comment anything through and I'll get that across to Dan. Any inquiries about this, feel free to probably inbox myself is better on Instagram, especially if you have dealt with one of those cancers or anything in the fires and we can point you in the right direction or make sure it goes where it needs to go. Bloody running a vet. So from me, before we jump in the Q&A, thank you so much, Dan. You're a fucking legend.
No, thank you.
And more of a thank you to people like Dan who, you know, sacrifice so much for our emergency services. Their own health, their own time, their family's time, everything from fireys to ambos and police, SES, anyone in that, and even to a bystander who stands up to fucking help.
Yeah. Never ever let the theory of decreased responsibility stop you from helping.
No.
Don't look around for someone else to do it. Jump in.
Yeah.
I think help your fellow people.
Fucking oath. And if you're in the way, someone will tell you in the way.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we all, especially emergency services, thank you so much, and listeners, thank you as well. Really appreciate it. And that's the end of the official. Now, we will jump into just a few. We've got, here we go. Really 3. Well, I'm going with 3 questions.
Sure.
We're going for at the moment, unless some guys send them. So, and this one is from a mate who says, up to you if you answer. You don't have to. He asks, what was the worst fire emergency you've ever attended?
Jeez.
Or maybe one of the more like ones that's like clear in your brain, like one that really stands out.
Fire-wise, it's not. I've been to a few like pretty big ones. It's more the car accidents and stuff that stick with you more.
Yeah.
You know, I went to a car accident in I won't go into too much detail with this because I've got to be careful.
No, that's absolutely fine.
But I went to a car accident just prior to a Christmas some time back, and it was a young girl in a school uniform.
Yeah.
And so I was, and because of the time of year, there was a delay on the ambos because they're just busy. Like it's a busy time of year, you know. And so I was holding her, you know, for quite a while, and I held her while she took her last breaths when the ambos got there and all that sort of stuff. So that was hard, you know, very hard. And then I drove past that place every day, going to work with the flowers and the plaque and all that sort of stuff on it. So it was like, you know, there's always that constant reminder.
Yeah. And
then in the last year or so, I became friends with another person on Facebook, and the gym I was going to, and this person posted a photo of that girl, and it was her sister.
Fuck.
And I'm like, right, okay. And so then it became like it tore at me a bit as to, do I pull her aside and say, hey, I held your sister while she took her last breaths, or do I say nothing? All right. I've gone with I say nothing because I don't really think it assists her in any way, shape or form, and it doesn't really. I can reconcile it. It is what it is. It's, you know, like it's horrendous and it's horrible for her. So that's stuck with me a fair bit. You know?
But I think, look, that's pretty fucking chilling, I guess. But like, you know, knowing you, the thing I do, that, you know, she couldn't have been with a more caring, loving person on that.
It's and it's an incredible feeling of helplessness as well when you're not an ambo.
Yeah.
And like you're the best. Essentially, I become a bystander in a uniform.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I have been to a fire. I went to a fire at Paraka with a guy, and a pallet fire, and pallets burn really, really well. And I remember
a lot of oxygen,
like everything. It's just amazing. They go like a chimney, and me and him were standing on one of the bigger diameter hoses, and the heat that we were copping of it was so horrendous. We were backing off, and it was spreading, and his knuckles blistered through his gloves from the radiant heat. So, and I remember reaching around behind him to make sure all his gear was done up around his neck correctly and his visor was all down because of the quick get to work that we had. That, you know, just to double check that all his PPE was exactly where it needed to be, and even then it was just still too hot. Like it's people, I don't think, really understand, you know, just because you put water on something doesn't mean jack shit. You know, like this fire was burning that hot, the water was evaporating before it was hitting the actual fire. Yeah. So there's lots of different things like that.
We could go on about it for fucking ever.
I mean, I went to a house fire one day where I dragged a girl out and she was conscious, and then got her out and handed her over and turned around. She ran back in and was waving to us through the kitchen window. Yeah. I go, this is like a comedy. You know, are you kidding me? I'm going to go back in again and pull her out again. You know, like things like that.
Fuck me.
There's so many stories.
Yeah, mate. So many. Honestly, I wish we could hit more. So, where have we gone? So Noah asks, when you spoke about the FDNY, the Fire Department of New York, what was your experience? You didn't catch it. So how did you find with them? So you didn't work with them particularly, did you? You're more at an event with the
I was at an event with the guys there that were actually September 11.
Yeah, and how was your experience with those fellas?
I didn't get to talk to them too much, but they were just general, standard, normal, humble people. They thought nothing of it. Yeah, you know, they were there.
You meet anyone like that?
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah.
You're almost impressed.
You're from Adelaide. Yeah, you're from New York. Cool. You know, for me, like as a firefighter, you know, it's the same, I guess, as somebody that plays guitar in their garage and they go and meet Pearl Jam. Yeah. So for me as a firefighter, you meet a guy from FDNY, it's like, that's the pinnacle right there. Yeah. Well, that's like the rock stars of firefighting.
The best I can, if you can put it like that, was when I first went out for dinner and met Mark Donaldson, Victoria Cross recipient.
Oh, how good's his book?
Yeah, but like, so we met up at a steakhouse in Adelaide. Yeah. And it went in, it was like a big hug. Oh, Willy, fucking blah, blah. Yeah, so you're 7RA, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck do you give a shit about, man? Just bloke, the boys. Like, it was fucking crazy. So the next one we'll pump through. Again, you don't have to actually answer any of these because I know, cool. You know, was, what do you think of the police officers attending major emergencies like 9/11? Are they helpful or... Are they helpful to have an attempt to assist people on the higher floors?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they can do it safely. I mean, police even here, they have their operating procedures and all that, but it's again like I wouldn't expect a police officer in the gear they got to go to the fire floor.
No, fuck.
But there's still they can still go up the stairs and have a crack at, you know, people that are non-ambulant or burnt or whatever.
But even just setting up a cordon.
Anything. So they got their procedures anyway, but you know, it is so important when we go to a job, even now, when police stop, you have no idea how many people will try to just walk up to the front of a burning house to have a look or try and talk to you. Yeah. Like what their role is scene control and scene preservation is massive, and it works really well. Yeah. Oh, but as for a mass casualty incident like that, any person that has the ability to assist that's not going to get in the way, then just do it. Yeah. The police, I can't talk highly enough about them.
Oh, yeah, I'm the same. So we'll go with two more. So the next one is the funniest thing to happen at the fire station. Oh. Like, this shit happens all the time. Like, fuck, I had some laughs. I was only there for like fucking an hour and a half. I was pissing myself half the time.
Oh, there's some. Oh, I can't. I'm being put on the spot. There's so much stuff that goes on. There's a lot of stuff that I probably can't really say.
Yeah, don't incriminate yourself. Trust me, I know what it's like around the lunchroom at work too.
Well, we had a new recruit out some time back, or a couple of months back, and. I cooked a chili con carne, and I put about 18 ghost chilies in it. And he said, he's sitting there, and because he was new, and it's like, you'll sit there and you'll eat the dinner. You'll eat it. And he goes, oh, I might have to get Uber Eats. This is too hot. No, you'll sit it. We're all eating it.
Come on, mate. we're
all eating. And he was like, the poor guy was really struggling. We'd all finished, done the dishes, and it was about 45 minutes, and he's still sitting there trying to eat it. Shit. 2 o'clock in the morning, they get a call to go to Port Augusta or Whyalla or wherever it was for this big fire.
Yeah.
So they go up there, and then his stomach's doing flips in the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. And the poor guy, they've had to stop on the side of the road just near the fire, and he's just everything's let go, and they've had to throw rags out to the poor guy and all that. So then we set him up and told him that the chief had rung and said a member of the public had reported a fire truck on the side of the road and somebody defecating, and it's all this, and he was like wound inside out, like it's this poor guy. But the reality is that happens when you got to go. Yeah. It doesn't matter what's going on.
Mate, fuck. And so the last one we'll take is what lessons have you learned from your service that you apply to your daily life?
That's a really good question. I think nothing is as it first presents.
Yeah, okay.
And that was going back to that story about that guy that, I just arrest him.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's always a humane way to deal with everything, and everyone has a battle no matter what it is. So I try to be compassionate with everything and try and look at everything not only from my point of view, because sometimes my point of view can be pretty narrow and blunt. And
I'm the same.
And it's like, well, they may be coming from a completely different angle, and and nothing's guaranteed. That would be the big one. Yeah. My life could change exponentially in 20 seconds in the job. Yeah. It's the fire service. You can sit around a lot waiting, because we're responsive. Essentially, we can put the fire safety messages out and all that sort of stuff. We can only do so much. Yeah, whereas police, you're actively driving around preventing crime purely by being a presence. We talk about that in the army recently in Afghanistan. Say, we are a reactive force, not a proactive force. That's right. We will react to an incident. We won't proactively go into it, and that's, I guess, the difference between the fires and the police. Yes, because the police are proactive. They are out there. The fact that they're out there in uniform in a car is a presence. And you guys are react to an incident. Yes. Yeah. So, look, a special thank you to Dan, and a massive thank you to look, we've averaged, say, a fair few people actually listening tonight. That's right. Well, thanks very much for the questions too. It's like, put me on the spot. Yeah. Oh, look, we'll do one more. Just oh shit. Right. Oh, sorry. No, that's all right. You got anything that smile on your face. Yeah. Anything to achieve in the service that you haven't yet, and I guess that's that promotion you're looking for. Yeah, I look at the promotion, but I don't take anything for granted either. I just, and it sounds crap and corny. I just really want to just do a good job. Yeah. I want to be grey. I don't want to stand out for anything. Don't get me wrong, but this job has given me more than what I can give it, if that makes sense. Fucking oath. And I think you've given a lot. If I can give back a little bit and respect the job, and do it justice and honour, then I'm content. Well, fucking good on you. So we'll restart that again. Thanks, Dan. Thank you so much, mate. We appreciate it, and on behalf of fucking the community, thank you. No one else is going to be pulling me out of some shit. There's no one other than you guys I'd want fucking if I crash my fucking Rexy. I hope it never happens. Don't wreck it with the jaws alive. No. We'll use tweezers. You'll be fine, thank you. And I think this is the sort of best representation of the men and women that do so fucking much in our community and give it all. So special thank you to those on the live. You've been with us 2 hours and 20 minutes now. And for those of you who are watching this YouTube, Spotify, whatever, it really helps myself out actually if you do rate it, because it does bump me up the list slightly, just so more people can reach people I interview and guys like Dan and everything. So thank you very much, and cheers for listening. Thank you. Thanks.